All right. We are all set and we are live. How's it going, Viv?
All right. Yes, right.
Wait, is my
It's
Twitch
all right.
going? Oh, let me start the Twitch. My bad. I had not started Twitch yet.
Are we
Only
not even
YouTube was
live?
going. Well,
God
YouTube
damn.
was live. Twitch was not. So now
Oh,
we are
okay.
live.
Do you get a lot of do you get a lot of folks on YouTube?
I've been getting like 18 viewers per video. It's been pretty decent.
Mm,
I just started.
Groovy, groovy.
So, what do you think of some of the recent events in America lately?
I was fucked in that. Oh my god. What more do you want me to say? Like, oh Jesus Christ, what is going on?
I got sent a
What are you
video
doing?
of Elon's kid whispering to Trump, "You're not the president, and we want you to leave."
You enjoying President Elon Musk so far?
I mean,
Me?
everybody is. President Elon's the best in his swastikars.
Fuck me. God, it's a fucking disaster. I don't know how you're gonna get through the next 4 years. I think this is so much more insane than Trump's last presidency because he's only kind of partially president.
This
Like I was saying to one of my friends earlier today, actually, I think one of the one of the things that people should be doing is just constantly pointing out that Elon Musk is running the country and Donald Trump isn't.
Me too.
Like,
And we started making it together
I
after
reckon if
that.
you can just get Donald Trump
Harvard, Louisville
to
House,
hear that everybody thinks
second
that
floor, right on the
that
couch.
he's not in control and it's actually Elon Musk. There's a good chance he'll kick Elon Musk to the curb. I said that to one of my friends earlier, and he reckons that Donald Trump's just too demented at this point to do anything about it. I'm not sure I agree with that, but it's one point of view.
I don't think he's too demented. I think it's more of a pride and ego thing. And if he does get rid of him, he feels like he may lose some support. So it's just really interesting to see how it's going to play out and how the egos are going to mesh together. Thank you for the sub, X Vista. Appreciate it. 16 months. Now on a 17th month streak. So, did you see Kanye getting yeeted off of X, formerly known as Twitter?
Oh, Yi got yeeted?
Yeah, Ye got yeeted.
Yi got yeeted. God damn. I'm not surprised. I mean, he does keep posting swastikas and shit. That do be what you do be doing.
Yeah,
He's like one of those undeniable Nazis, you know? He's one of those Nazis who just comes along and goes, "Yes, I'm a Nazi."
that's exactly what he did, as a matter of
I,
fact.
I love Hitler. I love Hitler. That's what he said. You see him on the Alex Jones thing like ages ago. Yeah, that was fucking wild. But nothing really surprises me anymore, honestly. With nothing would surprise me with Kanye. That's for fucking sure. That guy is absolutely off his rocker.
And that's kind of what I wanted to get into with you, because when Kanye's doing all the stuff that he's doing, saying what he's saying, making swastika t-shirts and posting them on his Twitter, you have like, as you're pointing these things out, same goes with Elon and his Sieg Heil moment. You have apologists saying, "Oh, that's
Yeah,
not what it is. Oh, he's just trying to get publicity. Oh, he's just being crazy."
yeah. Well, they know what it is, right? It's like the Elon Musk thing's kind of weird because anybody who's saying it's not a Nazi salute is just coping. Like, that is a Nazi salute. You're a fucking idiot if you think that it's not a Nazi salute. But the argument is between, like, well, did Elon do it deliberately? Did he do it just to troll the libs? Or does he have some secret Nazi, but quote unquote secret Nazi beliefs, right? That he's trying to like dog whistle to the other Nazis that he's in control. And Elon Musk has been going on one about the Great Replacement. He's said some fucking insanely anti-Semitic shit. Like he went on a spree a little while ago, posting like black violence videos, you know, which is the same shit that you see all the time from Nazis on Telegram anyway. So like, I mean, I don't really care to analyze like or to try and mind read Elon Musk, right? But what we can say is that he seems to share a lot of ideological perspectives with neo-Nazis. He seems to enjoy consorting with the far right. Has a lot of has a lot of proposals policy-wise that are particularly far right, and did what was a Nazi salute on stage, regardless of his actual fucking intention. And the people that come afterwards, they know it's a fucking Nazi salute as well. Like, so we had one, Calvin Robinson, that's his fucking name. Black guy, priest, and presenter on GB News over here in the UK. Total fuckhead. But he went over to the United States for this anti-abortion thing, and he did the exact same thing. He was like, "My heart goes out to you," and did the fucking salute, and all you all-American right-wingers fucking cheered for it, right? They were like, "Yay!" You know? And it's like, okay, so he's very clearly imitating Musk, who did a Nazi salute. So now he's knowingly doing a Nazi salute. And it's like, it was the same. It's worse than the OK sign, right? But like,
Sure.
the OK sign had a similar kind of thing, whereas like, haha, we're all Nazis, and we're going to use the OK sign to make the libs think that the OK sign is connected to Nazis. And ha ha ha, we trolled them into thinking the OK sign is a white power sign. And it's like, but all the people who are using it to communicate with each other or to like virtue signal basically are white supremacists. So like it is a white supremacist hand signal now. Like you've made it a white supremacist hand signal by being the people who are using it to quote unquote troll the libs or whatever the fuck, right? Because it just became this virtue signal, right? This like symbol of like, yeah, I'm on this side. I'm with these people. I'm the person who does the OK sign shit. And it's so fucking dumb.
I was half on board
So
with the idea that Elon was trying to like make an OK sign out of his salute and not do the full thing, but then he accidentally like went full ham
He's an
into it.
asshole, sir. I know that. What's his
he
name?
was just like, fuck it.
Asshole. Major
OK
asshole.
sign's so passe. Let's
Cousin,
do the
he's an
Nazi
asshole
salute
too, sir.
now.
Gunner's mate,
Let's
first
just do
class,
it.
Philip asshole. How many assholes
Yeah,
we got
but yeah,
on
it's
this
so
ship
dumb
anyhow?
because like anybody who now imitates it is knowingly imitating a Nazi salute, right? Regardless of whether you're doing a Nazi salute to troll the libs or doing a Nazi salute because you really agree with everything that the Nazis ever said, you're still doing a Nazi salute. Like, it's yeah. I don't know if the right really fucking understands trolling anymore. Like trolling seems to be, in their view, trolling seems to be walking into a room, shitting on the floor, and then laughing when everybody gets mad at you for shitting on the floor. And it's like, well, yeah, but you shat on the floor, dude. Like, I just, I don't, you know, yeah, you're still the fucking idiot. You're still the asshole. You're still the dumb motherfucker here. Regardless of why you shout on the floor, you're still a fucking you're still the person who shout on the floor. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah,
just
but we're dealing with a
their
bunch, a
idea
bunch
of
of people
trolling is so
saying
fucking
he
stupid.
didn't shit on the floor. And we're like, yeah, he did shit on the. Okay, well, if he did shit on the floor, it doesn't smell. And we're like, no, it fucking reeks. Well, he didn't mean to shit on the floor. We're going through all the different levels of it at this point.
Yeah, yeah. It's just very silly. It's just super, super fucking dumb. Um, yeah, I don't know. Left wing trolling's a lot more subtle. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Sometimes
I mean,
ignoring the dumb fuck dark woke people.
Dark woke. Is
left-wing
that really a thing
trolling.
now?
People are trying to make it a thing.
I just
So,
recently
I
heard
don't know
about
how
this.
you measure whether or not it's a thing or not yet, but like it's no different from people doing the dirtbag left thing like a couple of years back, right? Like it's the same kind of thing. It's just like, yeah, we're left wing, but we also say slurs and like wish death on people and shit. And I'm like, motherfucker, I'll sit here and I tell a cunt to go eat glass. Like I've said some pretty outrageous shit, but like you don't have to compromise your values to do it. You know what I mean? Like I can sit there and dance and laugh at Rush Limbaugh's fucking death and say it, you know, I'm glad he's rotting, right? Like I can do that. I can fucking I can say I think Donald Trump should eat glass. Like I can just say that shit, right? Like I don't have to add slurs to it. I don't have to go, like call fucking um Clarence Thomas the C word, right? Like I don't have to fucking do that. Like I can just say he's a disgusting piece of shit. He should eat glass too.
Oh, I
Should all have a
definitely
massive
understand.
glass tank. Sorry?
No, I'm definitely with you on that. Like, I have issues with my fellow black people that want to call Clarence Thomas a C word and people not understanding like where that term comes from. And it's literally a
Yeah, yeah.
gatekeeping term in the black community, but now it's just a straight up slur, and a lot of people aren't going to get the vibe of it. So
Yeah,
to
yeah.
keep that from being misunderstood, we probably should stop doing it and just say you should eat glass. But all the same,
Okay, in all honesty, with the C word thing, I think there's probably uses of it that I don't really care to police, and I'm not going to say are like fucking. I'm not going to say are destroying your morals or whatever, but when some random fucking white college campus liberal says it, like I ain't getting that vibe. You know what I mean? Like I'm not getting that. If it's a fucking black activist who fucking is talking from that particular place, sure, whatever. But like, yeah, whatever. Maybe I should have said calling Clarence Thomas the N-word. Like, I just because yeah, some of these fuckers will just do that shit. They'll just be like, yeah, no, I'm dark woke. Fuck you, N-word. Like, what is this? What is this? How is this woke at all? Like, this is there's no wokeness here. You're just like perpetuating racism essentially. Yeah, and they'll do it with fucking everything. Like, and it's very silly. I don't know.
I have those problems on
People
my
really losing
streams,
their mind.
and then it becomes a damn, now I have to restart my stream kind of situation.
Yeah.
So it's not helping anyone.
Yeah. People are but people are really losing their fucking minds over the fact that Trump is president. And, you know, on the left and the right, right? The right are like in this kind of like jubilant, fucking bloodthirsty frenzy where they're just like, yes, now is the time. Now is the time we get to cut the tall trees. Everybody grab a machete and go fuck up some Tutsis, right? Like they're ready for the liberal, the fucking American version of the Rwandan genocide where they just start fucking liberals to pieces. Send them all to fucking Guantanamo, right? Like torture them to death. Let's see fucking Chuck Schumer on the gallows. Like it's they're fucking losing their minds, just absolutely descending into bloodthirsty savagery. And you know, and on the left, and especially among the liberal, quote unquote, liberal left, like they're losing their minds as well. They're like, fucking Armageddon. Like, the Republic is over. What do we even do? I have no idea, right? And it's because they never thought that this could happen. They always thought that their institutions were strong enough to withstand something like this presidency. And they were wrong, and we told them that they were wrong, but they still continued to have that faith in the Constitution, in the courts, in the separation of powers, you know, all these mechanisms that are supposed to hold the Republic together. And it's just like, well, all it really takes is one fucking insane executive to tear it all to pieces. So they're all panicking madly right now, as are a huge amount of like minorities, trans people, immigrants, etc. in the United States. You know, with pretty good reason.
And that's the thing. There
Um,
is good reason, but it's the language and level of hyperbole that gets measured out. And so when there's supposedly too much hyperbole, nobody's going to take certain things seriously, especially not the moderate portions of society, and definitely not the right. So, like, the main thing that's being thrown around now is constitutional crisis. And everybody
yeah,
on the
sure.
right is downplaying the idea this is not a constitutional crisis. Is it in the court? Then it's not a constitutional crisis. Whereas most people that are more left leaning are just straight up, yes, this is absolutely a constitutional crisis.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, this is very much um when people say constitutional crisis, what they mean is that this is a moment at which our um the structures of our government are being challenged, right? Challenged, tested, stretched, and people are attempting to see how far they can go in breaking essentially the rules that have held the republic together. And just because it's in the courts, that doesn't mean that it's not a constitutional crisis. Like that's where a lot of constitutional crises are resolved, right? In the courts. I'm not sure Donald Trump is gonna. Donald Trump and Elon Musk are gonna accept what the courts say anyway. Like, and when it comes to that, like with the Treasury, for example, right? Elon Musk giving access to all this shit to a whole bunch of people who don't have any kind of uh, uh, who didn't have proper security clearance, weren't properly vetted, rather. Were given security clearance without being properly vetted, I should say. Fucking 19-year-old, he wants to rehire that Nazi kid. I don't know if he did rehire him yet, but he said he was going to. He put it up for a vote on Twitter, right? And as we all know, Elon Musk always follows the results of a vote on Twitter, unless it's the vote as to whether or not he should stay in control of Twitter, because that one he lost by a fucking landslide. And for some reason, he's still in control of it. So, whatever he said about the Vox Populi and all that, it only seems to matter when it's something that he actually wants, right?
As expected of any dictator.
But yeah, it is a constitutional crisis, because it's like, when when they keep pushing and breaking these systems to this point, like, yeah, I mean, there's got to be some resolution somewhere, and I'm not saying it's going to be a good resolution. Who knows? Maybe they'll just smash it all to fucking pieces, and it'll be the Trump dictatorship or the Elon Musk fucking techno-feudalist corporatocracy, right? Maybe it'll be any of these things. But I think, whatever happens now is gonna really change the face of the American Republic, if it survives. Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at. A lot of things that I never would have expected have happened pretty recently, like within Trump's first administration and now. Do you know who John Lydon is?
John Lydon, what, from the Sex Pistols?
Yes.
Yeah.
I never would have guessed that he would become a Trump
He's a
supporter.
mega dude.
Like,
well, why not? I mean, they were just fucking canned bullshit, industry manufactured crap. They didn't know what the fuck. They were just shock jocks, right? And shock jocks tend to trend reactionary eventually anyway.
And that's essentially what happened. Like, I would have thought, because he was an Obama supporter before that, his politics seemed to be anti-Reagan, anti-Thatcher, Republican for the most part. And then to see him go full MAGA, I want these immigrants out of my country, anti-trans, while being pro-gay. Like, he was speaking about Oscar Wilde back in the day and saying how brilliant Oscar Wilde was for being gay at a time when gay people weren't appreciated. And then when push comes to shove, when he's in the generation that gets to make a similar decision, he moves in the other direction.
Well, I think. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, look, he's still fucking bent the knee to the Queen and shit. Like, I don't know. They they performed "God Save the Queen" in front of the Queen, like for a fucking was it one of her jubilees or something. I don't fucking know. I don't keep up with the royal family. But they're not hugely interesting to me beyond the fact that they should probably not be. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, yeah, just fucking industry plants, don't they? The Sex Pistols. That's the problem. And like I said, shock jocks with no politics, right? Like they're anti-establishment for the sake of being anti-establishment because it pisses off some people. And yeah,
And
I don't know.
so
You
I'm
can't.
looking at levels of radicalization I don't think I've ever seen ever in my lifetime. And I'm
Oh, it's
wondering,
pretty.
how do we
It's pretty great.
de-radicalize and
Okay.
decult people?
Oh, okay. I was
What were you
just
going to
saying how
say? My
great it is
apologies.
to see so many liberals get slightly more radicalized. Um, it's a shame they're all flailing around blindly, but it's um, it's nice to see a lot more people wake up to the reality of things.
Well, yeah, that's definitely true. I'm glad to see a bit more fire lit under people that lean left. But at the same time, the way that the right
Yeah,
has dug in on blatant misinformation and gone pretty much full cult like to a strong degree.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we did. Um, I did a lot of work on QAnon, especially during the first Trump presidency. From like 2017 onwards. Uh, and that sort of core, the conspiracist core, has now very much, and we saw it happen during the course of the first term, really, but it's very much been sort of absorbed into the general into the general Republican voter base. Um, like it's no longer like you can separate out here are the moderate Republicans and here are the QAnon crazies. No, QAnon is mainstream Republican platform now, right? Like all the
Exactly.
stuff that they're talking about with the oh shit. Sorry, I'm so tired. It's my fault. Yeah. So I I don't think it's wrong to call it to call MAGA cult like at the very least. Certainly intensely conspiracist, intensely apocalypticist. Um, meet a lot of those sort of bars that we would have for saying something's a cult. Um,
And then there's also like cult behavior moving in the background because a lot of my conservative family reads the Epoch Times, which is a publication put out by Falun Gong.
yep.
And so that's more
Yeah.
propaganda layered on top of it.
Do you see I think I posted it. I did post it up on Blue Sky or whatever, but like the USAID USAID was giving money to Falun Gong and the well, not Falun Gong, the Epoch Times, uh, and was giving money to Shen Yu, which is the other Falun Gong project, which is the monks, right? The monks doing their acrobatics shows and stuff. Yeah. So USAID was giving money to both of them, which is
Really?
interesting. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
see their billboards and their posters all over the place now.
What, Shen Yu or Epoch
Shinyu.
Time?
I've seen a few
Yeah, yeah.
billboards for Epoch Times, but I see a lot of Shinyu in publications.
Epoch Times is fucking crazy because they advertise so hard on YouTube and Twitter. Um, so they're just fucking everywhere. And Shen Yu, I know is pretty big in the US in terms of their like advertising campaign and stuff. We don't see as much of it over here in the United Kingdom, but they're an international sensation. And to be fair to them, those Buddhist monks, they are pretty acrobatic. They can do some pretty cool things. Very good circus show.
Definitely not for a good cause, though, at this point.
And if you join Falun Gong, maybe you can do cartwheels on the tip of a spear.
I'm going to guarantee my faith isn't strong enough.
Mm.
But yeah, I understand, like, they have a huge beef against China. They probably felt that Trump was in the best interest of China, fighting against China.
Mm.
So they decided to put their engine behind Donald Trump and play into the propaganda.
Well, they are deeply, deeply, deeply anti-communist, right? And China is ruled by the ruling party, the Chinese Communist Party, the only party. It is debatable whether or not that party remains a communist party after the Dengist reforms, but it is at least seen as communist by most anti-communists. And Falun Gong have long accused the Chinese government of some pretty extreme repression of their group, which does seem to be truthful.
Like stealing organs? I don't think that's truthful necessarily.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. So imprisonment, repression, banning Falun Gong, basically. These things are true.
Yeah.
The organ harvesting shit not necessarily confirmed. And probably not true. But so oh fuck, what was I gonna say before? So they have some legitimate grievance with the Chinese government, who view them as a potential contender to power, and at the very, very least disruptive to the rule of the Chinese Communist Party, right?
Of course.
But along with being anti-communist, as anti-communists generally are, they are extremely fucking reactionary, horrendously homophobic, very, very conspiracist, and not really that much different from the MAGA movement in the United States. And in fact, a really interesting thing happened between sort of basically during Donald Trump's first term, right? As QAnon is getting big. Because QAnon united so many sort of conspiracy theories from honestly across the political spectrum, right? So many other kind of cultic groups began basically incorporating QAnon rhetoric and stuff into their groups. You remember Love Has Won with Amy, Mother God?
I've heard a little bit about it, but if you want to elaborate for everyone in the chat that may not know.
Yeah, sure. Amy, Mother God, whatever you want to fucking call her, Amy Carlson. She was the leader of a relatively small group, and she was just fucking wild, dude. Like, she said that she was the reincarnation of multiple different gods, that she could she had a service that people could pay to be healed by her. She wouldn't heal them by going to their place and giving them medicine or anything. No, she heals them on the ethereal plane, on the spiritual plane. She astral projects into the spiritual plane and heals their spiritual double, which is then supposed to heal them, which is then supposed to be healing for the person on Earth. um they called it like a 4D doctor, right? um and actually, while she was dying, she asked the cult to take her to a hospital, and they said no, you need a 4D doctor. And then she died. Really sad, just in general. But like, she was also a horribly abusive person. There's videos of her abusing a cat, locking a kid in a cupboard, screaming. She called everybody whores. Okay, she was constantly calling people whores. Has the super famous video of her, or at least famous in among people who know who the fuck she is. Super famous video of her lying on the bed, screaming at one of the cult members. I ordered chicken parm. I didn't order meatballs. I like meatballs, but I wanted fucking chicken parmesan. You fucking whores.
I
How
remember
many
that
more
video.
does it take to get a fucking chicken parmesan? And that's the kind of fucking person that Amy Carlson was by the end. Absolutely just horribly abusive and nasty and shit. But Lovers One began as sort of this, what would you call it? New age spiritualist, like almost hippie-ish kind of cult group, right? Obviously, it took from a whole bunch of different religions and places and bits and pieces, but it was all about promoting healing and life and healthy living and blah, blah, blah. That was what they said on the cover anyway. It actually involved, starving people of sleep and food and just an incredibly controlling and abusive environment. But when QAnon started getting big, they started incorporating that conspiracist QAnon rhetoric into their own kind of what do you call mythos, right?
Right.
And so that's just one example, like probably one of the more famous examples. But so many cultic groups did this with QAnon stuff, and it's because QAnon was easily identifiable for these people because QAnon took from everywhere else, right? QAnon is basically just a conspiracy web. It's a rehash of the old Blood Libel, the Illuminati, that shit, right? Like the Bohemian Grove, back in the sort of like 90s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. Like, it's just a rehash of the same old shit, but it incorporates every single fucking conspiracy theory you can think of, from like Western medicine is trying to murder you, to fucking mole people in the tunnels, right? Like all these fucking things, reptilian shapeshifter. It encompasses all of them.
5G,
So all these other
JFK, all that good stuff.
yeah. So all these other cults can see, oh, QAnon believes this like little bit of like what we believe, and then goes, oh, but they also believe all this other stuff. Okay, well we'll just we'll start incorporating that into our group to make it more attractive to a broader range of people, basically. Yeah. So where the fuck were we? How did we get onto this? Yeah, the general diffusion of QAnon, I guess, into the sort of right wing, and how there's not really such a thing as a moderate Republican anymore. Like all of them are kind of like bought into this insane conspiracist web.
Yeah, it's a lot of that. And pretty much where I'm at with it is a bunch of people subscribe to these ideas not knowing that they're subscribing to cult ideas. They're reading Epoch Times, they're getting the information, they're into the QAnon conspiracies not knowing that they're either a part of QAnon or they are a part of QAnon and not believing that it's a cult. As people tell them to their face, hey, you're taking in cult materials. Like, you need
Yeah.
to stop. This is wrong. So, like,
Well, you know,
how do
there's a
we
lot of
reach that?
oh, geez. So, uh, to
Yeah, it's
begin with,
tough.
it's worth saying that there's a lot of communication between American conservatives and some of these right-wing cult groups, right? The Epoch Times is one example, but you know, you can look for Donald Trump going to speak to the Moonies, right? Um, you you might have seen some articles about the gun Moonies, which is a sort of not quite splinter group of the Universal Church. But so there's those guys. There is Happy Science, which are a cult out of Japan. Whose leader Ryuho Okawa died like last year, but one of their erstwhile spokespeople, fuck me, trying to remember names off the top of my head is difficult sometimes.
I
One
don't
of their
remember his
erstwhile
name, but I know
people,
what you're talking about.
yeah, he turns up at CPAC every single fucking year, right? And gives a speech to raucous applause. At one point, he suggested he was talking about the COVID, saying COVID was a Chinese bioweapon, and we need to invest in our own bioweapons to fight China as soon as possible. You know, all that sort of stuff.
But then you hear right
Oh, no.
wingers say these things while they're at it. Like
Exactly.
RFK said that
Exactly.
it was a Chinese bioweapon. He didn't go as far as to say we need to develop our own bioweapon, but he was just straight up saying this, I think, at his confirmation hearing.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, sometimes it's difficult to tell where these things originate, right? Do they originate from the fucking random Asian cult? Do they originate from inside MAGA? It doesn't matter. They borrow from each other, right? And there's a lot of communication between them. So all that is to say, to begin to answer your question, which I know sounds like a really simple question, but it's actually just fucking huge and probably doesn't have a good answer, just as a TLDR. But to answer your question is that, you know, there is a lot arrayed against the average person in the United States. There is a network of cults that are not just the cults that exist in America, you know, your fucking batshit insane evangelical churches that like cross the border from just being a slightly scammy religion into actually being abusive high control groups, which is how we would classify them as cults. So not just the American cults, but like international cults with huge media operations like the Washington Post Times. I'm always confusing them. Which one is it? The Washington
Washington Post, LA Times, New York Times.
But
it's
no,
definitely Washington
the
Post.
the one that Falun Gong owns. Yeah, yeah.
Epoch
Washington
Times.
Post.
Epoch Times.
Oh, Epoch Times. Wait, so fuck, because there's another one. There's the Washington Post. I think
They have
is
another
also...
publication. I didn't know they were connected to another.
I don't think it's Falun Gong. Actually, who the fuck was the Washington? I think it's the Washington Post, the Moonies. I think it might be actually. It's either the Washington Post or the Washington Times. I always get confused
Oh,
which
then
one
it is
it
the
is. But
Washington Times. It's funded by the
And
Unification Church.
yeah, Unification Church. That's the Moonies. So you know you're dealing with these international cults like the Moonies, like Falun Gong, that have huge media operations, are supported by the American conservative apparatus, right? And the American conservative apparatus has this huge fucking media empire in Fox, in talk radio, which is still really, really big in the United. Like, if you're younger, you might not get it as much, right? But like, just because Rush Limbaugh's dead doesn't mean that talk radio is, right. And a lot of folks, the older folks, are still very into talk radio. then you have the sort of intellectual dark web, which is neither intellectual, could be dark by some definitions, but it's mostly dorky as fuck. But you know, the Jordan Petersons, the Tim Pools, the fucking Steven Crowders, like there is so much arrayed against the average American, especially an American who might live in a place where that is quite conservative, right? Where all the Fox billboards are up, where you have 20 different local talk radio stations that are all conservative and conspiracist, you know, and it's really, really difficult. I think if you can put yourself in the shoes of somebody who grows up in that kind of environment, you can see how easy it would be to be sucked into that stuff, right? Like if you're being bombarded with this from all fucking sides and everybody's telling you it's true, why would you believe something different, right? Why would you? It doesn't even seem reasonable to at that point. So so that's what we're up against. And in terms of like how we stop people getting sucked into it, the answer is I really don't know. I really don't know, and this is a question that we struggle with a lot in cult research in general. Is one, you know, how do you provide basically immunization, right? How do you provide a resistance to people joining cults? And it's education, right? Is like the top one that everybody always talks about. Education, both in what to look out for in terms of like a group that might be trying to suck you in and trying to destroy your ability to think critically, and also a basic basic education in critical thinking, which has to start really young. And these are holistic things, right? These are like societal things. You could do them on a one-on-one level with your kid for sure, but in general, like you need these large-scale holistic changes to fight such a large-scale holistic propaganda empire, right? You know, as individuals, there's really not a huge amount that we can do, and because that empire is so fucking huge, that's why I say I don't know. I don't know what we can do, right? On an individual level, yeah, you can talk to your friends. You can help them to look out for these things that are signs of an abusive cultic group, right? So, with that in mind, I think it's reasonable to maybe take a look at some of them. We could probably do that, right? So if you maybe I could just get a website up for you, Kai.
Appreciate it.
So
Because
you've got-
like I have the issue with my aunt, who became a Trumper, and her news became Epoch Times. Like that is the news that she watches. My sister is in college, and so you know she's talking to my aunt about whatever project she's working on, and she's like, "Oh, here's an article from the Epoch Times." She takes this to her school, and the teacher says this is not a valid source. So she goes back to my aunt and says, the school's telling me this isn't a valid source. And my aunt flips out, saying, this is definitely valid news. That's just a woke school that you're going to, so on and so forth. Like, I explained to her this is a cult newspaper. This isn't a cult. The fight is real. So, like, do we just write off the older generation that never gained those critical thinking skills and just say, well, they're gone and work on everything going forward?
No, I don't think we do. So in terms of somebody who's already begun being sucked in, and it sounds like, you know, she's already pretty far in there if she's like, no, it's not a cult or whatever. I think there are things that you can do, right? When people there's this whole subreddit, QAnon casualties, you might have heard of it. But if you haven't, you know, you can go there, you can check it out. And it's a lot of people talking about their experiences of losing their loved ones to QAnon, basically. And when people get into QAnon, they start talking endlessly about all the stuff that they're quote unquote learning about the world. And They will get very combative. They will get very irritable if anybody deigns to question them. They will start. They will get more and more extreme in their views on like LGBT folks or being liberal or whatever, right? And it causes a lot of friction and it isolates them from the rest of the family. And it has the people who are left behind feeling like they've lost a father, mother, aunt, sister, whatever, right? It's like a bereavement, and there, people will say stuff like, the person that I knew just isn't there anymore. It's just this angry, hate-filled, fearful, obsessive fanatic in their place, right?
Exactly. That's exactly what happens.
Yeah, and it's horrible. It's really, really sad, and it's sad. I've sat in with a lot of people in QAnon over the years, just sitting in QAnon groups, talking to them, listening to them, and so on. And it's awful from their point of view as well. They believe one day they will be vindicated and all their loved ones will see the light. And those that don't, well, fuck them, they're damned and should go to hell anyway. But but they also feel isolated. They also feel like they've lost their families as well, right? Because their families haven't come on this journey with them. And it tears these families apart. It's really, honestly, aside from the murders and the and whatever, it really is like the saddest part about it is that it really does, it destroys lives and it destroys families. And so, I don't want to place an obligation on anybody to do anything, because you have to look after yourself, and it's perfectly reasonable to say, you know what, I've fucking had enough. This is too much for me. I can't keep dealing with this person, right? But if you have a mind to try and save the relationship with your nan, aunt, mother, whoever, granddad, who's falling into QAnon or some similar kind of like conspiracist network cult, what you can do is you can, I think number one is set apart some family time, right? They are currently being sucked into, or have been sucked into, this alternate fucking reality that is a reality separate from the reality that you live in, right? And they're spending all their fucking time there, and they're shouting back at you about it, and they're getting frustrated when you don't get it, or you don't believe them, or you don't understand them. So what you can do is you can set apart some family time. You can say, look, this is the time that we're not gonna spend talking about any of this stuff. So no politics or religion or whatever, right? Let's do what we used to do as a family. Let's sit down and watch the game, or like, let's go to the park, and whatever it is you guys do, whatever it is you enjoyed with your loved one, right? Set apart some time in the week, maybe once a week, a couple of hours, to do that with them, and that allows them to keep an anchor, to remain tethered to the reality that you exist in, right? That would be sort of step number one. The sad truth, or the sad thing that I've come to realize, and I've worked with a couple of different groups that have attempted de-radicalization. I've spoken to some of the earliest deprogrammers. Actually, I spoke to Ted Patrick a little while ago, but I've spoken to other people who claim to be involved in de-radicalization and deprogramming. We don't really use the term deprogramming anymore, but the vast majority of them are hacks, and the very sad fact of the matter is, it doesn't seem like you can just reach in and pull somebody out against their will, right? Every single survivor that I've spoken to, something has happened that has triggered them wanting to explore other options, if not actually leave, right? but like something has to happen to like trigger this willingness to have a little bit of self-reflection, or even just want to leave the cult entirely, depending on how bad it is. And those things are things that we don't really get to control, right? Maybe they have a kid and they're like, shit, I don't want they realize they don't want their kid growing up in the environment that they're living in, right? Like it's an abusive environment. They don't want that life for their child. And so, they decide that they want to leave. But we don't have control over these things. So all we can really do is to keep the door open. Like we often compare being in a cult to being in an abusive relationship, right? If you tell a girl that the way her boyfriend's treating her is fucking horrible, he's a piece of shit, she needs to get away, it could work out, but there's a very big chance that she's going to side with her boyfriend over you, even though he's beaten her, right? Even though he's abusing her, she's not ready to see it yet, right? She's in that controlling, abusive relationship. She's not ready to see it. And you risk her then severing that bond with you, right? Basically going, fuck you. I love my boyfriend. And so all you can really do is keep the door open. You just say, and this is what most domestic violence, like charities and stuff, will say, is you can, you say, hey, if you ever need it, you've got my sofa. You know that, right? Or something along those lines. Like I'm always here for you. Blah 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 blah. That sort of stuff. All you can do is keep the door open. And in regards to the cults and stuff, I always view it as like, the person is going down a path and they are dead set on that fucking path. And you can't force them to take a turning, right? All you can really do is provide as many opportunities for them to turn off the road as possible. All you can do is create forks in the road and hope that something happens to make them self-reflect and see those forks and maybe consider taking them. That's the only thing you can do. And so keeping them tethered to that reality, to go back to what I said earlier, like that is one of those ways of making sure that there's always a fork in the road for them. They're always a little bit tethered to your reality. They know that they can come to you, that that they have a social group outside of the cultic group that they can return to, and that the cult isn't all that they have now. Yeah, and like I said, no pressure on somebody to do this, because living with somebody who is like this, or dealing with somebody who's like this in your family, is very, very difficult. But like I said, if you have a mind to, if that's something you want to do, then I'm afraid that I think that that's the best that you can do for them.
I think that kind of
just hope.
encapsulates a lot of what we've been talking about. The people that will make excuses for the crazy things that we're seeing, like Elon salute, whatever. They're so captured by this particular ideology that they aren't willing to see the negatives that are going on around them. Like, I think you pretty much nailed it.
Yeah. I mean, so there's this stuff that we talk about with regards to, like, how do you identify a cult? What is a cult? Blah 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 blah, right? And one of the ways that it has been classified, it's Robert J. Lifton, great, a brilliant scholar on cults, has written on Nazi doctors and the CCP and all sorts of fucking stuff. He wrote a book called the Thought Reform and the Psychology of Totalism, which is why I now refer to these sort of abusive tactics by cults that interrupt the ability of people to think critically. I refer to these as thought reform. because of engaging so much with his work. and and so he lays out like these sort of 8 criteria, right, which are sort of they're all around the way shit, I already said this, didn't I? The ways in which cults essentially interrupt people's ability to think critically and ensure sort of loyalty, fanaticism, and dedication to the cult. And the very first one that he lays out is control of the milieu, and the milieu is like your social environment. And that means the information that you're able to access, right? And I think and I think it's really important to note that like cults have definitely kind of changed a little bit over the years. We used to think of cults as being this one sort of like centralized group. They live on a compound somewhere. There's this charismatic leader. Like if you Google cult definition, you'll often find reference to like a single charismatic leader. Cults look different from that nowadays. People can do these things to themselves. So when we talk about control over the milieu, right, it might be that you live in a compound and you're not allowed to look at a newspaper from the outside, and you're not allowed to talk to people outside the group, and you're not allowed to read books that aren't sanctioned by the cult, etc. Or it could look like you find a particular online space that you become completely fucking obsessed with, and the information that is being fed to you through that space causes you to distrust anything that comes from outside it, so that you don't need that single charismatic leader. You're essentially self-enforcing this control over information. Does that make sense?
Oh, it absolutely does.
Yeah. So like if you speak to somebody who's like proper deep in the MAGA cult or deep in like QAnon and stuff like that, and you say, oh well, there was this news report on CNN the other day, they'll laugh in your fucking face, right? It doesn't matter if CNN filmed absolutely everything that happened and like have completely reliable sources, right? The very fact that it came from a source which is considered an enemy of the in-group means that it is just disregarded fucking immediately. And the same thing kind of like happens when you combine this with one of these sort of other points, right, which is doctrine over person, which is the 6th point that Lifton lays out. It is the idea that the how to explain this without explaining some of the other points? Annoying. It is the idea that the in-group has the truth, right? The doctrine is the truth, and Lifton calls it the sacred science, right? So the group has access to the sacred science, which is the arbiter of what is and what isn't true. It is how you should structure your worldview. And doctrine over person means that if your senses tell you something contradictory to doctrine, then you should reassess your senses, right? You shouldn't reassess the doctrine. The doctrine is infallible, so if something you see or hear contradicts what the doctrine says, then it must be your fault. You must have fucked up somewhere. You must be thinking wrong, whatever. And so that's exactly what they're doing with like their fucking Elon Musk stuff. It's like, well, Elon Musk is a good guy. The Nazis were the bad guys, right? Regardless of how many neo-Nazi conspiracy theories they currently believe, right? They're not actually neo-Nazi conspiracy theories. Because the Nazis were the bad guys and we are the good guys. Elon Musk is a good guy. Therefore, Elon Musk can't possibly have willingly done a Nazi something, right? And regardless of what your eyes tell you, you can see him up on stage doing the fucking Nazi salute. You then have to go into yourself and reassess and do all these sort of mental gymnastics to justify how it is that he wasn't doing a Nazi salute, right? So that's doctrine over person.
And that's pretty much how I fell out of being religious in the first place. Was I looked at the way I process things, and in everything else I'm logical, but when it comes down to
Mhm.
spiritual matters, I would use special pleading and allow special pleading to lead my logic. And when I figured out I only do that for this thing, I'm like, okay, well, it's time to stop using it for this and see where it goes. And it just made me let go of it almost immediately.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and I think that's one thing that can happen. You know, I mean, there are people who have left cultic groups, they say, because they've noticed hypocrisy within the group or within the teachings, or you know, there's like there was a white supremacist or an ex-white supremacist that I know who left the movement after finding out that the leader of his particular little fucking militia group was doing a lot of cocaine and fucking a lot of hookers, right? And they were supposed to be pure of drugs and believe in the traditional family. So, you know, this like blatant hypocrisy just kind of like split up the group um immediately. But you know, it is worth noting that a savvy cult leader or a particularly dedicated fanatic, if you want to call them that, they will even with the most blatant and obvious hypocrisies, they will do the mental gymnastics to make that fit, right? Because, like I said, it must be them that's wrong. It cannot be the doctrine. And in many cases, it cannot be the leader. The leader, the doctrine, these are perfect, these are infallible. I am the fallible one, so I have to reassess and change, like do whatever mental gymnastics are necessary to make this fit. And I think that, you know, maybe you're lucky in being able to compare how you're thinking about religion to how you're thinking about the rest of your life, right? And that's because you had a rest of your life, right? The thing about the cult is, you know, we go back to that first point of control over the control over the milieu, control over the social environment, control over the information that you're able to receive. The cult is your life, you know, in a particularly high control group. The cult is your life. So you don't have anything to compare this pattern of thought to. Um that is just your entire world, right? That's how the cult maintains control.
That's got to be terrible to get shut off and be entirely encapsulated by the cult.
Yeah. And like I said, now we're entering the world with with how connected everybody is and how much time people spent on the internet during the fucking pandemic and everything. Like, we're entering a world where people are just fucking doing it to themselves, right? By entering into these internet echo chambers and willingly just ignoring and dismissing any information that comes from a source that isn't part of the in group. Um, and how we combat that shit, like that's a whole other kettle of fish as well, right? That's a terrifying fucking scenario that we're now in. And a lot of cults are a lot more decentralized nowadays. They don't require a single charismatic leader because of how this functions.
Wow.
The internet is scary, kids. Social media is a fucking nightmare.
Oh, that's another one we can definitely get into. But I think it's about time we move into open because, you know, it's been about an
Yeah,
hour.
sure.
So
Sorry.
I'm going to move us to. No, I'm sure we could talk about this for hours.
Yeah, and I do ramble when you get me onto this stuff. I'm sorry. I apologize. I hope I didn't like.
No, you've been
I guess the
amazing.
point was to get me to come on and talk, right? So
And
I guess I
ramble,
did.
especially to ramble. So I'm going to move us over now. Give me a second. Hello, all.
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Setting the
I'm working
stream
on a
back
plumbing
up.
issue.
Oh god, not Azzy. Holy fucking shit, dude.
What?
Asking.
Yeah, Ozzy.
I haven't seen this motherfucker in ages, but I still fucking remember arguing religion with him. Holy fuck,
Well,
dude.
that seems like what we're gonna do now.
That seems like a nightmare. Alright.
It's a semi-open panel, and I trust Ozzy not to TOS me, so he is welcome in the room. So, as we've been sitting here talking about radicalization, cults of personality, or cults in general, getting away from subversive echo chambers. Yeah, this is the street preacher Ozzy, the one and only. But I guess his mic's not working at the moment.
Is he a street preacher?
I don't know for sure, but I'm seeing in the chat street preacher Ozzy, so I'm not gonna take my man's flowers away.
I mean, if any Azzy's a street preacher, is this guy. I would believe it.
You were muted, Ozzy, if you were speaking, so. But welcome to the
Yeah, you
open
should,
panel.
like, unmute yourself.
Pretty sure he has
Against-
perms.
Against my better judgment. Do it.
Yeah, he should have perms to do so. He's unmuted now.
Oh my god, you didn't even spell my name right, you motherfucker.
I spelled your name wrong? My apologies.
It's an AN, not an EN.
Second floor.
Oh, then I ruined the whole thing. We have to start over.
We'll kick you in the titty.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Fuck me, yes. Jesus.
Awesome.
That was
Good to see you
loud.
too, huh?
Ever so slightly. Yeah, welcome.
Sorry, don't adjust your volume. I'm adjusting your volume. Fine.
Hey,
All right.
Doghouse, thank you for the sub. Appreciate it.
So, I might have like another 20 minutes in me.
No, I appreciate the time you've
So
given me.
if anybody has any no E at the end, Naya socks, I will kick you in the titties too.
Not my titties.
If anybody
no.
has any questions or anything they want to ask me or want to discuss with me before I fuck off after all that rambling.
I was hoping Rich would have something to say, but I guess he may have stepped away for a little bit.
No, I'm here, but I don't know what you guys were talking about.
Oh, we were talking about
Oh.
radicalization, primarily, as Vivien elaborated, how being in the cult-like environment is very similar to being in an abusive relationship, and how you're willing to explain away abuses and horrible things that you see and rationalize them, and how to get people out of that by kind of just being around them.
Yeah. Well, I just think, when I talk to somebody, like sometimes I get students who are somewhat radicalized in their views. And I tend to just reward the things they say that are normal. And almost like, like we do with pets, where you just ignore the bad behavior. Like, you know what I mean? Like you don't give them any response. And over time, it sort of like incentivizes the more normal behavior. And at least that's what I do with kids. And it seems to do okay, over time. They say less of this crazy shit and they say more of the normal shit. Of course, I never know if that's just them, hiding.
While they're around you, yeah.
Yeah. Like, trying to Eddie Haskell me or something. That's always a possibility. But I think quite often the people that we pretend to be, wind up becoming who we are in the long run, just because there's a lot of overlap there.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole fake it till you make it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so they may have these sort of
That's
crazy ideas because their parents are Trumpers or something. And so they keep saying shit like that in the classroom as freshmen, but then by senior year, they're a lot different, or at least they appear to be.
Yeah, no, it's interesting to hear it from the perspective of an of an educator. I speak to a lot of family members and stuff. So, you having that sort of like more limited contact, but also being in a position of authority, it's an interesting, different dynamic that I hadn't really sort of thought of. In
So
any
it's
depth.
like the things they say have to be viable, right? Like if you're going to go to a tournament and you're going to make arguments, you know, there's certain arguments that are winning arguments and there's certain ones that are not. And so you kind of have to, in part, you want to win, but in part, you also want to make arguments that you think make sense from your own perspective. And there's sort of a combination of both. And so you might still make conservative arguments, right? But there's kind of conservative arguments that you can get people from a variety of backgrounds to agree to. And those, if you end up focusing on those, because that's what helps you win at tournaments.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean all of a sudden you're on the left, but it does mean that you sort of understand what appeals to people and what doesn't. And I think that can make your arguments more reasonable.
Oh, when the fuck did my camera go off?
When I moved the rooms.
Oh, okay. That's good. It wasn't off for like fucking forever then. That's great.
You're good.
I like that it's a camera and not a model.
She's a real cat.
She's an actual cat, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not. This is just my familiar. I speak through him.
Yeah.
The Tulpa.
Salem, actually. But, you know.
It's
But,
quite well known in these parts.
Fuck, I was trying to. Oh yeah, and I guess you have a little bit of an advantage being like doing debates as well, right? Like that's got to teach people a certain degree of like critical thinking and at least the ability to sort of analyze claims and sources and so on.
Right. And it kind of matters to them if the argument that they're making is like not viable at a tournament setting.
Yeah.
Well, to add, because I also deal with debate at my school. I contribute to that, and you find that like typically just people just tend to just go towards the most compelling the most compelling argument, even if the person like we're in a debate space. If somebody is like the most talkative or the most convincing, then all of a sudden it emotionally arouses somebody, right, to go towards that idea. The reason I bring that up is that when you're in a cult, a lot of it isn't just like your logic. This is like an emotional, psychological hold on you, where you just feel like, I think even Vivien brought up the example where somebody logically understands that I'm getting beat up on by their partner, but they're just gonna stay with them because there's some type of like emotional, psychological hold on it. Like even if you know the right thing, you still do the wrong thing because of it's just that's what you think is just better. You see there's no other choice.
Yeah, or you must have fucked up, right? That's the real big one. Like they're not actually bad, like you made them do it, right? Everybody's had the whole fucking "you made me do it" or whatever, right? Like,
right.
But that's the thing that like abused partners fucking internalize, and that's one of the things that keeps them in the hold. They're not really a bad person. They really do love me. I was just stupid that time. I shouldn't have dropped those dishes. I should have made them dinner faster or whatever, right? And it's exactly the same in cultic groups. It's like, the leader can't possibly have been acting in a hypocritical fashion towards the doctrine. I must be wrong somehow. I must have misinterpreted the doctrine, or I must not have seen what I've seen, or they must have had some higher reason for doing what they did that I can't possibly understand because I'm not enlightened enough yet to fully understand it.
Well, then
Nice.
that means that they been like trained to think that like I have students who are like smart, who are capable, quick on their have quick wits, right? But because they've been told or they just feel like dumb or incapable, right? They continue to just act out, right? Even if you like you're trying to logically reach out to them, you're trying to ignore it, right? But if they're never gonna mature, like they're kids, they're not going to they're going to go towards the thing that like looks the most convincing, right? And
God, I
they'll
forgot you
lie to
were an
themselves in
educator.
any form or fashion, like, okay, this is better. Like for instance, the guy is outside bullying me. I have to defend myself, otherwise I'm gonna be disrespected and my whole life is gonna be over. Well, like no, it's just sixth grade. you still got a you got a bunch of years ahead of you. Is you're gonna get over it, and you got a bunch of people here who can help you out. A lot of people don't see that far into the
Ah,
future, right? Because they're just not that mature emotionally or socially. They don't have the wisdom for it.
how old are the kids that you teach, Ezzy?
They're around 12, 11, 12 years old now.
Uh,
Yeah, and I last year I was dealing with like 9 and 10-year-olds.
what do you
It's
what do you teach?
English and science at the moment.
Fair enough.
Mm. You often find that in order to like get them to change, you gotta like become like them almost, and then convince them, or motivate them. I don't even like saying manipulate because then it sounds like you're just trying to like use like psychological warfare in order to, and some people do that. Like some adults will scream, so some adults will yell. I even try pulling a kid aside and try okay, so other teachers are doing this, let me try it, and it has no lasting results. Like trying to like browbeat somebody doesn't seem to work. Trying to like scare them into or have some use like negative reinforcement to try to get somebody to change, it doesn't work out. Like the most successful, the most consistent way is to like you become like them, you go into their spaces, you learn about them, and then you just like slowly, like you said, you keep the door open and you just slowly make them feel like it's better on the other side.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a very reasonable point of view.
Yeah. It's funny. Y'all know Nietzsche?
Frederick
Oh god.
or
Yeah.
Ronald?
Frederick.
Gotcha.
Or is it Friedrich? Is Fred
Friedrich Engels. Frederick Nietzsche.
Why you say Frederick? Well, I was listening to somebody give a lecture on Nietzsche, and he has this like philosophy of like in order to become the best, you have to like, totally like get rid of like go full logical, go just become look at everybody who is like in you're basically separating yourself from those who you think have poor qualities, and you're looking at other qualities and you're saying, you know what, these are the winners in life, right? So this what happens in cults a lot of the times, where you have like individuals who are the most charismatic, the most athletic, the most good looking, right? And then as soon as they start saying something, you're like, oh, they must be right. And that's like the appeal of cults, right? Like it's this, I feel safe around them, I like them, they look good, they sound good, I want them around me. And then when you get them around you, you like, oh no, they're beating me up, they're lying, they're not as good as they seem to be, right? And then he makes this comparison to say that religion is just a tool for those who are weak at heart and weak of mind. But then he gives he gives um, he says about the religion that it's like the most efficient tool to fix like psychological problems or social problems or emotional problems. Well,
I got a
like
question.
Run it, Tom.
Nietzsche
happened?
said a lot of shit.
Yeah, I got a question. Why is it that we put so much stock into Germans who don't leave their basements from the 19th century?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, if you're gonna give all this credence to this, to the things that you see it works in these scenarios, but then you're gonna demonize it and say get rid of it. Like, why would you even listen to this guy in the first place? Now, I I feel like a lot. That's the logical
I feel like
atheistic
most
conclusion.
I
It's the
feel like most people
Nietzsche
today
conclusion.
don't listen to Nietzsche.
Say it again.
I feel like most people today don't really listen to Nietzsche all that much. I feel like his reputation was somewhat tarnished by a particularly large group of people who did some very horrible things.
Yeah,
Whilst
but
doing
they
his work.
follow his philosophy though. Even if they don't know him, they'll agree with him if they heard him, and that's
Yeah, don't we listen to Freud more these days?
It's wild. It's either people believe in Nietzsche or people believe in Marx. Both 19th century Germans who never left their basements. It's wild. I don't understand it.
yeah, and it's very this it's cult like in itself, but they think they're being I just want to like
It's literally Nietzsche preached anti-religion or literally religious anti-religion, which is wild. And Marx was just like, I'm going to replace religion with another religion.
and I think that's the alt right. The alt right is like
Pretty
of
sure.
that faction.
I'm pretty sure Marx said that religion was the opiate of the masses. That was a fucking endorsement, my friend.
Yeah, and
That
then
was Marx saying that religion ameliorates the pain of the masses. Like he wasn't saying it was a bad thing. He wasn't saying it was like a drug. It was addictive or whatever. He was saying that it ameliorates pain.
Well, yeah,
Religion
he's saying
ameliorates
it's like
pain.
just some lesser solution, but we're right now where it's like a lot of people are in like psychological or social trauma, and all of a sudden everybody is like so depressed and they don't want to change, so they stay in their cults. So it's like we've taken we said it's okay, but at the end of the day, we tend to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah, I think you have to be. I think you have to be careful throwing around the word cult to just describe people reading a bit of Nietzsche or reading a bit of Marx and agreeing with some of the things that are said there. I think
I'm
that's
gonna
far
stand
too
on
broad
that.
of a definition.
No, I'm gonna
Well, yeah,
stand
I
on
mean,
it
I've
because
seen
when
you stand by
when
a
I
lot of
get
things.
in their spaces and you listen to them, a lot of them
Uh-huh.
sound like alt writers. They just are more affluent. A
What
lot of them, the way they operate
the
tends to
Nietzsche?
be
Yeah,
emotionally
there
the
might be
same way.
something. There might be something to a fanatical devotee of Nietzsche sounding like an alt writer. I don't know where that could come from though. Maybe there's something in history that can teach us. Something I alluded to earlier. But
Well, it's the charisma, it's the safety, it's the paradigm of it, where you feel like you're right, and your worldview is better than everybody else's, right? And everybody who looks and sounds and talks like me are the true like human beings, and everybody else is subhuman.
uh-huh.
And I just want to bring up like what, and that's just one point, right? We don't got to continue to talk about that. I like that's not what I like. I'm just saying like the most effective way that I've seen to get people out of cults, like I said, is like becoming like them and slowly loving and sacrificing and showing them that their worldview is not as good as the other worldview that you're trying to bring them into. Right? And that's just the way for any. That's just the way you bring anybody to any like understanding. Period. Like for instance, like back when affirmative action just began, right? And the school started to bring kids out of the inner city in the 60s, 70s, into the 80s, and then it started to slow down around the 2000s. Like Christian boarding schools were bringing kids, and they think they're doing like they are. Well, I'm not gonna downplay it. They are doing them a favor. They're bringing them out of like really dire straits into a more affluent, more quiet, more healthy space. right? And they show them a lifestyle that these inner city kids would have never dreamed of. But a lot of them ended up not, not sticking to that lifestyle, right? Because a lot of the times they would bring them in, right? But instead of showing them, and they would bring them in, but they would demonize their past lifestyle, right? Or they would say that we're more superior, right? And oftentimes you just you'll be wary of that, right? Like, oh, these people are trying to brainwash me, right? These people don't really, they just want me to be like them, right? This is when you start to get in, and it's like reminiscent of conversations that happen like now in terms of like DEI and like inclusion, where it's just there's a lot of people who just want to be like so fully themselves, but they don't understand that they need to go into a new environment and learn things. Well, it's because that their old past lives are being demonized. They feel otherized. So they never really truly hold to the organization, to the new paradigm, to the new ideology, right? And the roots just die off, right? And their understanding of, okay, this can be a better life. You would find that the kids who stuck around is when they had somebody who is like kind enough to not, talk bad about where they came from, but say, hey, where you're from is just as good as we're at, but we just have a different way of doing it, and we get these results. So if you want to, come dabble in this, and then we put some type of pressure on you, there's some type of accountability, right? Like we demonstrate that there's going to be a level of sacrifice, that we're making. And so there should be a level of sacrifice that you need to make, right? And once that takes hold, a lot of those students, even they don't totally give up their old lifestyle. In fact, they'll go in, they'll change, but then they want to go back and try to change their the inner city. They want to go back and contribute what they've learned, you know, to their family, to their community. Like, okay, I've learned this new way. Let's come back and let's develop what we're doing now. And then
Well, hey,
if it's
look,
totally bad, they just okay, I can't stay here. I have to move.
I still worry very much about you being an educator, but I think you're at least headed in the right direction on some of these things. I have to go. I'm so fucking tired. I can't,
Thank you for your time, Viv. It's
I
been
can
awesome
barely keep
having you
my eyes
on.
open. But I love you all. I hope you have a great night.
We
And
appreciate
I
it.
appreciate it.
Peace.
You made Vivien leave. It's all your fault, Azzy.
Dang. I didn't know I was saying anything that crazy.
No, you're good. I'm just messing with you. So, on to a 50-50 topic. How'd you feel about that halftime special, Azzy?
Oh, the halftime special? I thought it was I think that was because it wasn't too much, because it wasn't too little, it hit you. It's like the Three Little Bears. The porridge was just right. So a lot of the times, because it's not so extreme, it became a lot of people's favorites. Like, you don't have to do a lot in order to you know, it was family friendly. It was extremely creative. There was no lip singing, so his mastery and artistry was on display. And then he brought in some Easter eggs and some tidbits. Samuel Jackson was Uncle Sam. Drake's ex was Crip Walken. And we're like, yo, what is going on? So it's and I say this all the time. I think Kendrick Lamar wants to be on Broadway. His production style is he wants to take his art and put it in movies or put it in plays. He is a performer, right? He's not just a rapper. He's an artist. And that's what was on display. A lot of people didn't like it because he didn't give them what they wanted, right? But that's art. Am I wrong? Yeah.
No, I agree with you. I think it was very artistic. Like, we're talking about the Kendrick Lamar that literally threw Easter eggs in 3 separate tracks to rip into one Canadian. It took people weeks to figure out everything that he was doing in those tracks, and it was all well thought out. Same thing with this halftime special. If you know enough about this artist, you know that Uncle Sam is a recurring character in his music. The messaging that was going on throughout it, like the tracks that were chosen, the imagery that was given, like all these things played out pretty well. And for people
Matter of
not
fact,
to see that,
yeah.
it wasn't just about entertainment. This wasn't something purely for entertainment, and I don't think it was for everyone. How's it going,
I'm not gonna
Doghouse?
get
Why
down
aren't you
with-
banned
yeah.
yet? I thought I banned you.
I'm not the droid you're looking for.
You have to ask Kendrick Lamar and why. There is a MAGA starting pack though that showed all the Super Bowl halftime haters, and they all seem to have one particular similarity. But yeah,
Wait, say that again?
they all tend to have like one similarity as to
What's that?
hating
Don't
the
leave us
halftime
hanging.
show. Look, all the people that hate the halftime show. Look, I'm gonna call a spade a spade. If a bunch of goldfish sit there and say, "Hey, something don't sound right," it might be that. Look, all I'm saying is the same reason that they didn't vote for Kamala Harris is the same reason they didn't like the Super Bowl halftime show. That's all I'm gonna say.
What? What?
No. I feel like that's a silent bar. Like
Don't
that's a
How's it
low
going,
key bar.
IPA?
don't do this. Hi.
I mean, we're
I'm
doing
so
it.
IPA, did you not like the halftime show?
No. And it has nothing
Okay.
to do with the fact that
There you
Kendrick
go.
Lamar is black, okay? Super Bowl 56.
You said it, not me.
Oh, you implied it, motherfucker.
I didn't imply nothing.
Super Bowl 56 was one of the greatest halftime shows of all time, okay? Fuck all of y'all, besides the fact that
Was
he
that
was
Left
in it,
Shark?
okay? Like, that had nothing to do with... No. That was not Katy
Was the
Perry.
one with Missy J?
no.
Was it
50
Mary J. Blige?
Yeah.
50
Snoop
Cent.
Dogg, Dre, Eminem.
Yeah.
No, that was like one of the greatest fucking halftimes of all time. It had absolutely nothing to do with the fact that like Kendrick Lamar was in it or like the fact that
You
he's
just don't
black.
respect
Like
him.
Kendrick Lamar just sucks as an artist. Period.
Nah,
That's
that was
actually
deep.
that's actually just like
That's my
total
opinion.
blasphemy.
That's my
We
opinion.
gotta stop that right now. That's he
Okay.
sucks as an artist.
But my opinion of his music sucks has nothing to do with his race.
IPA, did you vote for Kamala Harris?
I think overall,
IPA silent over here. I'm telling
sorry,
you.
What?
you sound like a Waka Flocka fan. You sound like a Waka Flocka fan.
Bro, did you ask the most anti-government motherfucker in the room if I had voted for Kamala
Look,
Harris?
all I'm saying
Come on.
is there's a lot of people that did not like the Kendrick. Hey, look, all I'm saying is Kendrick Lamar he had an absolute
Doghouse.
amazing.
Do it,
Doghouse.
Todd. Do it, Todd.
Shut the fuck up, you
personally
become
do
a
not think
complete
the music
cuck.
is good. Okay, that's all there is to
Listen,
it. And so
Tiberius.
therefore, I thought it sucked. It has nothing to do
You-
with anything else.
No, those Republicans, they're racist. I'm telling you what.
You just
Yeah,
didn't know any of your
listen.
songs. That's what it sounds like. You didn't know. You didn't listen to some.
My
You didn't
entire
know any of the
Facebook
songs.
is full of that.
You
It's
felt
full
left
of
out.
of well, if you didn't like halftime, then you're racist.
No. IPA,
Well,
look,
well,
listen. I'll stop the jokes for a second. But halfway stop the jokes. So, as far as what you're saying, IPA, like, I'm not gonna sit here and levy the accusation against you, but there are a ton of people on Twitter who are conservative right-wing media pundits who absolutely. All I saw was them posting pictures of like Creed and how Creed was like the best halftime show. And I'm just
God.
saying, if yes, yeah, oh yeah.
And
So-
not oh God in the Creed sense. Oh God is in fucking like hand me a firearm, please.
But
Well,
I
I'm
just got
just-
a question. What was bad about it?
About what? Creed or Kendrick Lamar? Where would you like me to start on either of them?
We can start with we'll halftime show first. We can talk about that later. What was bad about it?
I don't like him as an
No.
artist.
You can't do that. That's the.
What do you
You gotta have a reason.
name something? Okay, I think his lyrics suck. I think that he needs a lot
don't tell
of
me.
assistance when it comes to production value in order for it to sound okay. I think that there is a lot of digital tweaking to his production that's necessary in order for it to sound okay.
So
same
he
thing-
was just trash because the.
example, right? Time out. Let me continue. Okay, Linkin Park. I've seen Linkin Park live. They're fucking goddamn old Linkin Park. I know nothing about new Linkin Park. Old Linkin Park, fucking trash. Okay, live because their music is so heavily produced that it sounds like shit if they don't have any of that.
Did you just say you didn't understand anything they said? Man, you are hitting the bingo cards tonight, IPA.
I gotta take
IPA,
this.
did you use?
But I'm
Did I
100%
say-
about it.
No.
Tiberius
not
wanted to
Chris
say
Tucker.
something.
I did not just Chris Tucker him. I did not say, do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? No, I said, I just don't like
Why'd you
his
have to use
lyrics.
Chris
I
Tucker?
don't understand them. I didn't say, I don't understand what he's saying. I just, you know what I
You
mean?
just use subtitles. It's okay, IPA. We
I
get
got
it.
two things. All right. First off, I am going to pull the white person card of, yes, I don't understand your music. Most of the time, I've needed fucking translator for your shit. Why do I need that? So yeah, I will pull that card. Now, my real take, even though I didn't watch the halftime show, but I did hear enough people talk about it, so I had to check something out. Don't bring your fucking drama to the halftime show. I don't give a shit if Drake's the worst piece of shit ever.
I mean,
If your singing
Drake thing was
is about
funny.
how shit Drake is,
Drake
personally,
thing was
fuck
funny.
off.
We heard Creed
But he
sitting
did it.
there complaining
Hold
about
on,
their
hold on.
emotions on a stage. I don't want to hear nothing about the lyricist called
And did I
Kendrick
say that?
Lamar. And then what's best is Kendrick Lamar showed you guys exactly what he was complaining about in the message. What was it that Samuel Jackson said or whatever?
Yeah.
They
He was
wanna
like,
put
"You're doing a good job. Keep it clean. Don't do that. It's gonna
Yes,
make
yeah,
people
there you go,
mad."
that.
He was literally
Yeah.
speaking to the naysayer. That's foresight, where he has
Yeah.
a character in play that's going to say all the nonsense that people are out there saying that are like, it's just so subjective. I'm like, okay, fine, but at that point, you just don't need to say it at all because they already said it during the performance.
Yeah, he had the force, and then what's crazy is Donald Trump ended up leaving after the DEI halftime show, so that happened. Yeah, Donald Trump ended up leaving.
And that's why the Eagles.
halftime show.
It was
Why isn't
it
the
was
DEI
super
halftime show?
ironic how badly the Eagles destroyed the Chiefs with the words "game over" and bright lights.
That became a double entendre on accident.
Yeah.
Was I don't ever care about sports ball. Was it a complete blowout?
It was a complete
It was,
blowout.
100%.
Yeah, it was a skunking. It was bad.
What was the final score?
Wasn't it like 17-0?
Kendrick Lamar
Ty, I was
had a
literally
42 to
about to
0.
ask the same thing because third quarter I was like, no, fuck this, I'm done.
You know what my honest beef with the Super Bowl is? Straight up. More
What?
people.
Taylor Swift?
No, more people will watch the Super Bowl on a yearly basis than people will show up for elections. And that's the part where, like, not necessarily against the Super Bowl, more against the people, the American people themselves, but I think that actually shows us where our priorities are.
So I have a
Like,
better
no,
idea.
no bullshit.
I have a better idea, Ty. How about instead of regular time we vote on the Super Bowl and everybody just gets a remote and cast their vote while watching the Super Bowl?
If you can find a way to secure that, like, absolutely, yes. If you can make that secure, sure, I'm in. Digital voting, all for it. But the caveat, it's secure.
You can secure digital voting with blockchain.
There we go. Ty solved it. So we're good. You just
The
have
big-
to give
the
me
big thing is-
biometrics and
Okay, and however, timeout. I'm gonna play devil's advocate because you had to have a backup plan because you're gonna get those people that go, well, the indigent people of the country don't have access to computers
I don't
and the
think they should.
internet.
I don't think they should be called the Chiefs, but that's just me.
Okay, so devil's advocate, how do we get people who are poor and can't afford, like have to go to the library, like to use a computer? How do we get them access?
Their phones, like QR codes by now. I mean, there's a lot of security
Okay,
risk
time out.
involved.
No, time out. We're talking about a whole other level, dude. Okay, and I used to work in mental health for about 12 years. There are, in fact, people that genuinely don't have fucking smartphones, okay? Like, straight up, they have to go to the library to use a computer.
Those people have to go to the voting booth like everybody else does.
Okay, that's all I'm saying is there has to be a backup plan. That's all.
No, seriously, like I'm cool with early voting. I honestly, two things. One, anyone should be able to mail in ballot. Although I don't get where the right's pissed off about how secure it is. Like that doesn't make sense to me. Granted, if you want like some level of precaution or an extra level, fine. But I think our elections are generally secure. But yeah, you can do online voting with. You have to have a proper sign in. So you might need to operate your driver's license number to sign in, and then your name, your address, your driver's license number. That's usually good enough, and then you can secure the vote itself with blockchain. Because if it's ever tampered with, the blockchain's going to know with it real quick. It's like, hey, somebody edited this.
Chat's messing with IPA right now, so I got to read off the chats. So one wants to know if you think the Dominion voting machines were secure, and then the other says that it would require government regulations, and it was thought that you were a libertarian.
Look, I am not an anarcho-capitalist, okay? I am not laissez-faire. I do believe that there is some minimum level of government that is required to keep things in order, to enforce contracts, okay? I'm not some fucking retarded. There is no what the fuck is a age of consent. Like, anarcho-capitalist, okay? Let's be clear about that.
Check.
Yes,
Stop.
there would need to be some kind of control to make sure that it's done securely. Yes, I think a vast majority of that can be developed by, spoiler alert, the private sector. Weird, and then adopted by the government.
If that answered all the questions, I think we're good.
Okay, thanks.
So I think we pretty much got down to blockchain, some sort of biometrics, all run by the free market.
There needs to be some backup for people that don't have cell phones, that can't access computers, like whatever. Right?
What do you think about the Trump coin? What do you think about the Trump coin there, IPA?
If you're dumb enough to waste your money on that, sure, go ahead.
See, I have a different problem with that. It's the whole idea that, people extol the president that divested from his peanut farm when he was elected. And this asshole gets to basically run a crypto rug pull as he's coming into office.
You know what I think it is, though, Lethe? I think it's the same thing with the executive orders. I'm going to be honest. I might take like a hot take here. I don't think he knew what he was actually endorsing. I think the people around him saw an opportunity to absolutely make a ton of money. I won't name those people that I think are responsible for it.
No, name them right now.
Well, look, one of them might electric vehicles or something. Because there was a lot of concern too. This happened around the election with Poly Market, where people were like, there was rumors. Don't know how true these rumors are, obviously, that people were inflating some of the betting markets and then releasing certain news, and things were kind of dipping on the Poly Market. Market manipulation seems like it's been happening. So this wouldn't be surprised if there was somebody behind the scenes. I was like, hey, sir, I think this would be a great idea. It's crypto. And he's like, yeah, that sounds good. And he signs off on it. It's just like he did with the executive orders. When they're reading off the executive orders to him because he's unable to read. And so they give him the summary of it. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's a great idea. Here, where do I sign? And he's never read the damn bill or executive order. So I think it's the same thing here. I don't think that Trump actually really even knows what he's talking about when it comes to these blockchain or crypto coins or whatever, meme coins.
I think somebody said, don't trust a rapist who can't read. I just heard that recently.
Isn't that R. Kelly?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and
like-
who's the boxer that also don't you guys know what I'm talking about.
I didn't know Floyd was. I never heard that one, but
Didn't he have accusations?
I didn't hear anything about those accusations, if there were accusations. But
Okay.
I
I
got
could be
two
wrong.
topics for you. And one of them I want to. One of them I want to do DEI. I guess I can do it now.
Oh god.
I have a great example of how DEI is actually a thing, at least to some degree, and how it really pissed me off this last week. All right, are you ready for this?
no. But go ahead.
Okay.
It is a thing. Companies have acknowledged it.
I'm sorry.
It is a thing. Companies have acknowledged it.
Oh yeah, no. Okay, so part of this is where I get pissed is that
Will you shut your cat up? Holy shit.
Your cat's hungry, bro.
Oh,
I know
shut
that.
your cat up or I'm going to eat it, okay? Pick one.
Whoa. Point proven on Kendrick take. Point proven.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
red ass.
he's
Not looking good.
Hey, I'm Asian. I'm allowed to say that shit.
you made
Also,
him mad.
Also, I'm hungry. Fuck you.
Well, we're not Asian, so it's we're not Asian.
Sorry, I am.
Well, all right. So I found out about this week. Kind of pissed me off. But it's a good example of like the DEI revisionist history that actually does happen, and I have like solid proof. So, people are like, "Oh, hey, we need to be able to teach Black history because there's all these things that people don't know." As an example, somebody brought up my state. We're called the Hoosiers here, right? We're the only state that isn't named by like Indianans or Illinoisans or whatever. We are Hoosiers. Well, this motherfuckers and some of these assholes are going around claiming that we're named after a guy named Harry Hoosier, who was a Black evangelist back during the Second Great Awakening. This is like 1830s, right? And we got our name from him. Bullshit. There is absolutely no fucking evidence whatsoever that we got our name from him. He's never been in the state that we can confirm of. And I'm just going to be honest. Hoosiers don't really like Black people. We're one of the racist states in the country.
So I've heard.
Yeah, so we got one of the hardest deals. It's going to be a real hard deal for me to believe that Hoosiers took their name from a Black man. That actually is something that really surprises me. And I think it's a great example of how actually DEI does try to rewrite history. More particularly, it's just like the woke crowd. Is they're like, oh, well, you guys got your name from this. I'm like, no, we have two options of where we think we got it from. One of them I think is bullshit. The other one is probably what happened. But no, these guys, since nobody actually knows where Hoosiers really got their name from, they're trying to give us a third option and say, well, you guys just didn't know that because you don't teach history. Fuck you.
Look,
Thought about it, see where Black-
one
Away
thing
from
that
my
I
coworker
really hate is I really
got
hate
upset about.
we
away
are
from my
not
former
Texan.
coworker
Listen,
got
we are
upset
not
about the word
Texan.
Picnic.
You find your grandfather is black.
Stop, IPA. We are not Texans. We are Mexicans. All right. I'm just saying, Texas needs to be bought by Mexico. Okay, that's what needs to
Hold
happen.
on now.
Just
Who
give
are
it
you
to him.
talking
Just
about,
give it
man,
to him.
Texan, right?
Call it
Look,
reparations.
motherfucker.
Everybody gets their reparations. We'll all be
Look
okay.
here, you motherfucker. I got more Texas accent than you do, all right?
Look here, motherfucker. All right. I don't know where you came from in these damn parts. Okay. I don't want to hear shit.
I'm
All
not
right.
buying
You don't
it. I'm
understand.
not buying it.
Trump was my
I came from
Lord and
Arkansas,
Savior. I went to
right?
church on Sunday. Where'd you
Now,
come from, IPA?
I spent several years in Arkansas. Now, hold on. If I was actually to do the
I'm holding
Arkansas,
Bibles upside down.
the Arkansas accent is much more redneck than that. Sorry, I apologize.
Listen, I'm down here in Texas, where you go down to the deep woods.
Oh,
and
I
they
lived in
they
Texarkana for a couple of years.
I had some. I have never felt more like a minority in my entire life than when I had a deep holler redneck call me boy. Okay, and and you know what I'm talking about when they sit there and say boy in a certain way, and you're like, whoa, bro, whoa, what in the world are you? I know you didn't just say that. I know you didn't say that. I felt discriminated against. He was white and I was white, but still, I felt discriminated against.
You got to emphasize.
Got to put the H for the W.
Yeah. Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm like, yo, bro, calm down. You said it a little bit too
I
strong.
do know that. That's what I'm saying. I lived the Ozarks for a couple of years.
Hey, Texarkana is not in the Ozarks. You're fired. Tiberius, how
That
do you
came
spell
quick.
Tiberius, how you spell the name? Hoosier? How you spell it?
HOOSIER.
HOOSIER.
Oh, okay.
Oh shit! Tulsi got confirmed.
Yes, she did.
Yeah, she did. But I'll tell you what, though.
For Mother Russia.
I'll tell you, Cash Patel's in trouble. I would assume is in trouble, possibly.
Did you see
And
him
the
blink
reason why-
twice?
No, I heard him sniff a couple times. No, I think it's interesting to see the DOJ come out and allege that they're going to give charges to Letitia James. Now, keep in mind the charges are actually like civil suits, but she like completely loaded that terminology. But I think it's interesting because it really like makes you wonder if she lied in her congressional nomination hearings. What do you think Cash Patel, who's literally got an enemies list, is going to do? Like, there's been serious concern about this idea that he's got an enemies list. Yeah, I think it could possibly cause issues, but the problem is whether or not the Republicans will have a backbone to be like standing up against a Trump nominee. So far, they seem to have caved. Mitch McConnell doesn't even know that he's voting Democrat, to be honest with you. It's kind of hilarious to watch where Mitch McConnell's consistently not voting with the Republican Party and then, like, being wheeled out in a wheelchair. I'm like, bro, I don't think he even knew what he was voting for.
I mean, I hate to say it, but like tortoises live for like 400 some years in some cases. Like, I don't know what we're gonna do.
But what I find hilarious is they're all like, Mitch McConnell's 82 years old. This is why we need term limits. I'm like, bro, Trump is 78 going on 79. Like, wait a minute. Like, he's 3 years younger than freaking McConnell, bro.
Yeah. Also, term limits. Okay, thanks.
Term limits are fucking retarded, but I do shut up. I do find the conversation about a mandatory retirement age in politics to be viable. I mean, we do it for the generals. Like, I'm not even fucking around. We literally tell generals, once you get 65, you're out. You can't be there no more. Now, every time that shit's gone to the courts, it's been ruled unconstitutional. But we're getting to the point where, like, I want to have a conversation with the electorate about just saying, look, past a certain age, we can't put you in. Because we've got a minimum age. Let's put a maximum age because this 80-year-old shit getting real old real quick.
100%. I'm with you, bro.
But that's what happens whenever boomers fucking make up the majority of the voters because everyone else won't show the fuck up.
I mean, that said, I will say that the minimum age should be lowered, okay? Like, your brain in general, like psychologically speaking, on average stops developing around the age of 25 to 27, 25 for women, 27 for men. Men take a little longer for whatever random reason, but
it's 25 for a rep. It's 30 for Senate and it's 35 for president. And the only I don't really have any problem with it.
For president, yeah.
Because, like, I mean, you could lower it, but who the fuck's going to be made president at 30? Like, I mean, I might be a Giga Chad, but I don't think even I'm getting elected at 30.
Never know.
I'm not getting elected down here in Texas as a fucking Democrat. I'll tell you that.
Have you tried?
Because you're not a Democrat.
Yeah, maybe not as a normal Republican.
No, listen, it's because listen, there are plenty of Trump supporters down here, okay? We've seen Colin Allred. That man had a better chance. But he did worse than Beto, and I think there's a reason why. It's for the same reason that the Texans down here said that they didn't watch the Super Bowl or halftime show. It's part of that reason.
It's because Kendrick Lamar's black. That's why we didn't watch it.
Listen, it's the same reason why when they say boy a certain way, we all know what they mean, okay? Listen, we don't need them to say it. We just have to hear it, all right? I don't know. I think, and then what's bad is like, I don't know. I think, I don't know if Texas will go blue anytime soon. I think the cult ideology of MAGA is so strong that, and people say, who's going to be the next person? Well, we saw Trump undermine J.D. Vance just this week. I think it was this week, where he was asked if he would support JD Vance in 2028, and he was pretty much like, no. He was like, he's a great guy.
Texas can go blue in 28, but you need the right people to run, and you need the Republicans to fuck up a bit. But yeah, Texas is, by all accounts, absolutely within swing state territory. What Democrats aren't talking about, and they need to have a serious conversation about, is that while they're able to hold on to like institutional moderates like yours truly, they're not able to hold on to anyone who feels disaffected. And you're having a lot of people, and it's not just white people anymore. It's literally everybody saying, fuck it. The Democrats aren't doing shit for me. Every time that they're in office, the results are way too slow, or they're always worrying about somebody who isn't me. So fuck off. I'm going to go with the crazy people. Like literally, if Democrats just spent the next 4 years like with a complete messaging makeover, and I'm not going to say hope to this because I'm not hoping for it, but if you want to be a partisan asshole, go for it. Just hope the Republicans fail miserably. Just hope that Republicans. Yeah, hope that Republicans just do the same shit that they did between 16 and 20, or where it's like, oh, whenever it came down to the 2020 election, Sleeping Joe could beat Donald Trump because everyone was reminded how crazy that motherfucker was.
So let's be real. I mean, we're complaining that, oh, the Democrats don't get me anything. How many people have health care because of Democrats?
I have healthcare because of my job. Thanks. Because I work.
You're welcome. And your job was given to you because of Democrats. But that's not the point.
I'm going to be real. Most of the people that have health care because of the Democrats are people who don't vote in the first fucking place. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but there's a pretty strong indication that the poorest people who are actually using government services like SNAP and Medicaid and all that, it doesn't look like they actually vote all that much.
That's because they're too stupid to find the DMV to get their driver's license to get an ID. Sorry, had to.
What voice was that?
I don't know. I'm a little confused myself.
I don't know who he's mocking and if I should be offended.
Hoosier.
There are videos out there. Okay, so like the whole voter ID thing, right? Like the whole like white savior fucking liberal fuck that's like, we can't have voter ID. The black people don't know where to find the DMV, and then you find these videos out there like, where's the DMV? It's about 6 blocks to the west, or whatever the fuck. It's near the McDonald's, about a mile from here. Okay, great.
So I know I benefited from Obamacare because when I was out on disability, I ended up with an infected finger from a spider bite, and I ended up getting the Affordable Care Act to save my finger and get antibiotics. Like, there are people that benefit from these things, whether or not they know they benefit, and they would vote to get rid of it.
Yeah.
By voting for Republicans.
Here's the thing though, Lethy. Like, ACA encompasses so many, and this gets into a much larger issue. ACA encompasses so many other things other than, hey, we should cover some people, and hey, pre-existing conditions shouldn't be things that you can deny people coverage for. ACA covers so many fucking things that have absolutely nothing to do with healthcare. Okay, like the biggest thing, and I go and rant about this all the time. ACA encompasses the fact that the United States government now owns 100% of federal student loans taken out after 2010 or as of 2010. I can't remember. What the fuck does that have to do with healthcare?
It has everything to do with healthcare.
It absolutely does not, and it fucked the prices of student loans and of college.
Leaf, I'm going to jump on my computer. Pull me in.
Okay, cool. So
Look,
yeah,
student loans need
definitely
to be forgiven.
I mean, that's another thing. Like, people in America definitely need education, and it should be covered. For as much money we put into as we put into the DoD, that could be going to educating our populace.
I don't necessarily agree with you, right? Like, I work in an industry where like multiple roles within the company that work for the car dealership make well over $100,000 a year with zero fucking education, or went through mentorship
bootstraps.
and internship and apprenticeship programs, right, to learn to do what they do. It didn't take a college degree. College degrees are for people who want to go to jobs that require college. I mean, I will be absolutely certain to make this clear to my son when he gets to that age. If you want one of those jobs, great, I will help you go to college. If you don't want one of those jobs and you're just going because your friends are fucking going, or because that's what society says you need to do to succeed, fuck that shit.
I didn't hear the last thing that IPA said, so I'm either gonna.
He's
probably
basically
agree
just
with
saying
him.
fuck college in general. If you don't feel,
Oh,
like
I'm
you're
not
gonna
saying
have
fuck
a
Okay.
job,
college in general.
if you're not going to get a job
no,
that
no.
requires college,
I sit on both sides of this coin. Okay, I have a graduate level education in marriage and family therapy. That job requires a master's level education or more in some cases. Okay, if you want to do that, yes, absolutely, go to fucking college. Okay, if you want to be an astrophysicist, yes, absolutely, go to
Unless
fucking
you're Elon
college for that
Musk.
shit. Okay, if you want to be, if you want to like be a carpenter,
Hey,
be an electrician.
IPA, what about if
be
you
a
want to financially
mechanic.
audit the government?
What?
Don't even start.
What?
Don't even get me started on the electrician carpenter shit,
Oh
dude. Like,
God, no. All I'm getting at is that college is not. We spent, not we, our parents. Okay, everybody in here is old enough. Our parents spent enough time going. You have to go to college to make anything of yourself. That society, the whole zeitgeist of where we are now is like, we have to go to college. And now, because everyone goes to college, okay, me
now you're a
included,
libcuck and you don't know anything.
me included twice, went, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll go to college, right? And yeah, I know a lot of shit, okay? But I don't do that job anymore and I don't fucking need it, okay? Like, we spent so much time that we flipped the zeitgeist of the country to go, you have to go to college. Now we have a lack of laborers who want to do the jobs that actually just don't require college degrees. You need an apprenticeship. You go, hey, I would like to be an electrician. Okay, cool. Go carry my shit around in this truck for a year and a half, and I'll teach you.
And then,
No one wants to do that.
yep, people trying to get in to do those things, and no one wants you. Everyone wants somebody with 10 years experience.
Carpenters aren't laborers. The fuck, they aren't laborers. Carpenters are absolutely laborers. They are physical laborers.
Who are
They
you
do
talking to?
manual labor. Chat.
Fuck Chad. Well, there's
never
7
say
people in
fuck
here.
Chad. Chad is the greatest. You stop
Fuck
that
you,
right
Chad.
now.
There's 7 people in here.
My
Talk to the
Chad is
7
the
people in
shit.
here.
Carpenters
All
are
right,
Chad-
absolutely
Chad, tell
laborers.
Tiberius fuck you.
And I'm not judging that. That's okay. That's fine. But they're laborers. They do manual labor.
Look, anyway, I'm gonna be at least around here, and like I'm finding out like there's a couple places in the country I'm thinking about moving to. It's pretty much everywhere. For some reason, you can find a bunch of apprenticeship postings here and there, but no one's actually wanting to hire an apprentice. They want somebody who's already got the journeyman license and usually 6 to 10 years experience. No one wants to invest. And by the way, I want to make this a topic here in a minute because I've got 2 that I still want to hit. Number one's the whole, Iron Dome, SDI reboot that Trump passed this week, or is dictated through executive order. If you guys want to talk about that, the other one is, I think the labor market fucking broke because it's either you're talking about people who are working who are like, I want $20 an hour for a job that's air conditioned and to sit on my ass. And when people say, I don't think that's very realistic, maybe we should bring it down, they're pretty much just saying, no, go fuck yourself. My rent is literally $100 per square foot, if not worse. And then when it comes to the employers are like, man, I'm paying out on every single level more than I ever had, and I'm tired of these fucking workers trying to come in here for $20 an hour and, having no skills and nothing that, the guy right down the street can't do, that it basically is a trained monkey. I'm kind of pissed at everybody.
And
Tiberius, the
Rabbit,
problem is
Rabbit
you
has come
pay
in
those
as
people
representative
an hour.
of chat to tell Tiberius fuck you.
Okay.
You pay those people $20 an hour and they sit around their fucking phones all day. Trust me, I employ several of them.
No, I get it, man. Like, I think both sides of the argument are kind of true. No one really wants to show up right now for anything less than $16 an hour, bare fucking minimum, because unless you're living out of your parents' basement, dude, it's expensive as fuck to live right now. And I get where the attitude is, where it's just like, I'll put it on my fucking credit card. You all can eat my ass. I'm not doing this
Real
shit.
quick, I have a question. What have you ever heard of this stuff? This is a completely side step. I'm doing an online quiz for my class. Could someone explain to me, like, I'm very concerned about our education. Listen to this. This
It's
is
broken.
about this. This is crazy. So we're on the topic of education. This is about culture or whatever for marketing and culture or something like that. Why? Listen to this question. LaShonda is a black high school student who lives with her single mother. She is tech savvy, watches BET, and buys brands that are popular with their culture. To which segment of the black market identified by Yanklevich
Wait,
would
black
LaShonda
market?
belong? Why? Where do these
The
questions,
double
like
entendre.
the fact that they're coming up with all of these, like, it's so bad. I don't know. I just find this
kind of cringe.
I'm like, how?
Sounds like an SAT question there.
I'm just like,
they might
no.
as well name the person in this question Shaniqua. Like, if
That's
you're gonna be
that's what I'm
that-
saying. IPA. I'm like, of all the like this is probably the worst kind of like.
That's super cringe.
So bad. Like, you could have asked this in a whole different way. Oh, sorry. All right, go ahead, Ty. I totally like interrupted you. I just thought this was pretty cringe.
Move out of Texas.
I want to move out of Texas.
Just do it.
Let's
Just
stay-
move. If Osiris was here, he would tell you just move.
No, we need him there to
Sorry,
turn Texas blue.
Well,
Rally the
listen,
troops.
Well,
I
I
could
want him
try
out of
to, but we
Texas
tried.
because when we give it back to Mexico, I don't want him to, be
That's
stuck
what the
without a
entirety
passport.
of Austin is right now.
Texas might turn blue once they find out all their DEI jobs and all their wives that were making all the money start getting fired. They're gonna be like, Trump, what happened?
Yeah, this focus on like this focus on like DEI and everything. And meanwhile, I'm sitting here like, yo, my eggs are still going up. And Trump's like, it's okay. I made a deal with Russia. It's like, no, but my eggs are going up. It's okay. I found all the DEI programs. I'm like, but Trump, my eggs are going up. Oh, that's okay. Elon, SpaceX just landed on the moon. But Trump, my eggs are going up. Oh, that's okay. Listen.
It just went up again today.
That's what I'm saying.
Getting back to the conversation I had, like, I'm just saying that I think the labor market broke. And I get it. I get both sides of the conversation, but I'm kind of stuck in the middle of it. Like, I literally can live off of somewhere around $1,200 a month. Like, I would like to make, at least $1,600 so I can save a little bit. But, more than that would be nice. But I'm not asking for a lot here. But, like, dude, I'm willing to
we've
drive an
talked about
hour. Yeah, I
We've
know.
talked about this, buddy.
I know. Like, I'm just going over it because it's like, look, I'm trying to get into a in-demand field where it's like, hey, HVAC, electricians, plumbers. I'm going for the trifecta. How many people within a 100-mile radius wants to hire people looking for that job? Fucking claims to be a lot, but even with a person who has logged hours of over, a couple of hundred logged hours, who can say, no, I like this. I have literally a letter of recommendation and yada, yada, yada. Fucking ice. And then when it comes down to it, I've seen it from the employer's perspective too, because my family owns a farm and they don't want to pay anybody to just sit there on their phone all fucking day.
Oh, Ty, your family bought the farm?
I mean, considering they've owned it for like 7 generations.
I was gonna say, I thought they've always owned it. Yeah.
You need to bring on a Ty Lopez who's just gonna go out and he just wants to live amongst you for free, and he'll host the hay and do nothing and read. But yeah, people like that, and I totally agree with you. People like that, they're like far and few in between. Everybody has seen the other side. Well, yeah. Well, and I think that's like really eerie how like this comes up again, where people have seen the other side and they want to make so much money in order to like live on their own, and they never want to go back and just like live with people or do hard labor. And there's, like you said, there's want a life of luxury and ease, and nobody is like aptly trained to do anything anymore.
Yeah, like I went back to
But
school. when I
you
was
know what's
about
funny?
20
And
years
I
old.
I just want to bring this up. Now that DEI is gone, right? Or at least we'll see over the next 4 years. We're gonna find people in a state where they're desperate. So we'll see if they're gonna go back to the labor jobs, or are they just gonna like smoke weed all day and play Fortnite? We'll see. Will the NEET population grow, or are they gonna go back to the labor jobs? Like when they were saying, oh, they're taking the black jobs. Well, guess what? There's gonna be a lot of folk who are like in the inner city who like cannot get into college because they literally cannot pay for anything. And now that like the Department of Education is like under attack, we have no idea if people are going to be able to get loans to go to school anymore. So I don't know. Maybe the labor force will grow.
Whoa. No,
Yeah.
that's supply and demand. No, that might actually lower the cost of college. Okay, I work in the car business. If the government guaranteed every single fucking car loan that I ever gave out to somebody, guess how much my cars would cost? They would all cost $100 million because the government was guaranteeing you something on an inflexible fucking quantity or a material item, right? Like, people need cars, and if I could charge $1 million for all of them, and the government would guarantee people fucking loans for them, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna charge $1 million goddamn dollars for them. Okay, that's the same thing with education.
Yeah, but
Okay?
that just hurts the middle class. That doesn't hurt. That hurts the people who can't get loans.
I mean, no, it
Seymour, what
hurts
do you
people who can get loans. Like
Seymour, what do you mean by that?
What I mean is like there was individuals like, for instance, my parents made too much and we couldn't afford any type of aid. We had to get private loans, and the cost of college was so high. I couldn't go to any like premier college. I just went up going to like a city school.
The government guarantees and owns all of those loans.
Well, yeah, yeah, and it didn't hurt any of the people who were able to get the aid, and it didn't hurt a lot. Well, I'm just speaking from my perspective. A lot of individuals who I knew were like either like immigrant or I mean not immigrant. They had their green card or they were inner city, and their parents made dirt cheap. Like their parents were security guards, and they could qualify for like the Pell Grant, or they could qualify for the financial aid, and they would go in and they'll come out debt free, right? But the middle class people and the people who were just like, and you could be making like 100,000 two people,
right?
With
Household incomes that are like 125 grand and under. Yeah,
and you got no loans, and now you can't afford to go anywhere. So everybody is going to they're trying to figure out ways how to survive, and they're going to community college or they're getting depressed, and they're not, or they're going to thousands of dollars a day.
Just make higher education affordable in the first place.
That qualification of do you get the loan or not was set forth by the government.
Well, yeah, that's my point. Now the government is like underneath Trump and Elon. Right now, like they're going through and they're saying they're doing the audit. But why are you downloading stuff to your personal computer?
Hey, you can't get a loan now, or whenever it was when you were thinking about going to college and you didn't qualify because your parents made too much. What the fuck difference does it make now if we get rid of it? Like, worst case scenario, nothing changes. Best case scenario, okay, the cost of college goes down because, again, the government is no longer going to be able to guarantee loans, okay? Because, again, if you guarantee loans for people, they get to charge whatever the fuck they want because they know that they have a captive audience and they can charge anybody anything they want because they know that it's guaranteed someone's going to pay for it.
Well, yeah, true. I'm not really going to argue with that. I'm just going to bring it back. Yeah, just bring it back to the labor conversation. A lot of those inner city kids, they were getting those government loans, right? Or it was labor.
I have to ask this wonderful question. Why in the 1960s did Reagan have to cut the higher education funding and raise tuition on colleges?
Because he's terrible. That's why.
Because if you work for the government,
black people are going to school.
Because Reagan was one of the worst fucking presidents of all time, and I say that as a guy the Republicans. Hey, the best president ever. Okay, look, I came from the same goddamn. No, I came from the same goddamn fraternity as Reagan. Okay, no, fuck that guy. He was one of the worst presidents of all
So,
time.
in understanding
Seriously.
that this is what happened, we should go back to what it was before that happened. And we should be moving in that direction. We can reform these things. We don't have to get rid of them. We can always reform them.
Look, I don't disagree with you. The problem is that we're in a society now that believes that if the institution doesn't help you, fucking destroy it. And like that's my
I'm
general issue with
entirely
MAGA.
against that.
Well, I mean, yeah, I get that. Like, there's levels where
It's chaos theory. What you're getting at is chaos theory, and
Dude.
it becomes to knock it down, and we'll see what happens.
yeah, like I'm an institutionalist. Like, I would be 100% behind MAGA and Trump and all this shit if there was a
Someone
plan,
clip
if there
that.
was an agenda, if there was an agenda. But
Oh,
there's
there's a
not.
plan.
There's not. Most of the shit is not thought out. It's not. There's no real means of trade or of.
Project 2025.
Privatization of everything.
The problem is Project 2025 is somebody else's idea, and thus because it's somebody else's idea, Trump isn't going to listen to half of it unless somebody can convince Trump that it was his idea. Like that's ironically
that's what they're doing.
That's what they're doing. They're
trying.
Every time he holds up an EO that he has no idea what the actual deep-reaching effects are, you think that's his plan? No, he's just the idiot that's holding up the.
What do you think
EO
Vance is
saying,
doing?
Look what I did.
Yeah, what do you think Vance is doing right now?
Fucking
Vance
the
literally
couch.
thought he was Satan a couple of years ago.
Look, I love y'all, but this man is way too narcissistic and way too autocratic
No.
to just
Well, as
be a
long as he
puppet.
can take the credit, he doesn't care.
But he's also dumb.
No, wait. Hold on,
He's
wait.
not.
Okay.
That's the part. That's the part where you
Ty-
lost me. I don't think this
No,
guy's dumb.
no. I don't mean like he's
Stop.
unintelligent. I
Stop.
mean, he's
I've been watching like the past 4 weeks like a hawk lately, and I'll tell you this: there is a little bit of both. Okay, so I'll give you a great example. Nowhere in Project 2025 does it mention taking Greenland or taking Canada or the Panama Canal or freaking Gaza.
that's what I
of all
mean
things.
by he's dumb. We're
Yeah,
gonna
so
turn the-
there's certain elements that he follows the playbook, and then he pulls like a
America.
freaking and then he pulls like an audible. So when he follows the
Because he knows what
playbook,
he's doing.
well,
I don't know about that.
So the playbook is things like him putting in place Russell Vought and putting in Brendan Carr and putting in people like Tom Homan, all of which, by the way, contributed to Project 2025 in some aspect or another. There's
Yeah.
also concerns where you've seen, for example, Mark Zuckerberg. You wonder why Google Maps changed the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, only in the United States, by the way.
Oh my
there's a
God,
re-
it's real? I thought that
Yeah,
was
it's real. No, it's 100% real.
It's real.
It's
And
okay.
I'll tell you why.
It's gonna be
They're going
okay.
from
Just
New
breathe.
Mexico to New Barron.
Go look
I
at it
can
right
tell-
now. It's real. Well,
Yeah,
okay,
let
go
me
ahead.
explain.
It's
Let me explain
US.
why. Let me explain why real quick. So, and I'll land my plane here. Sorry, I had to do that for Lethe. The thing about it is, it's a TikTok
Fucking
joke.
Christ.
Anyways, so the thing about it is that in Project 2025, Brendan Carr specifically calls out revising Section 230 to remove liability, and so or liability protections. So what is happening right now is you're seeing a lot of tech bros understanding and doing what Eric Adams has done. They are all doing the kiss the ring move right now. They know that if you get in Trump's good graces,
Down in
he
Africa?
won't come after you.
Oh my
And
God,
so
it's real.
it's
Keep
real,
going.
bro. Yeah. So and then this has led to issues with AP because Associated Press was not allowed in to a Trump press briefing because they did not acknowledge in one of their articles the Gulf of America. I'm not even kidding. This is a real story. Associated Press was not allowed into a press briefing because in one of their articles they referred to the Gulf of America as the Gulf of Mexico, and they were upset about it. So they did not allow them into the press briefing. The Associated Press, guys. So what we're finding is that we can see the same thing play out with Eric Adams, who kisses the ring and gets favors, but then you have Letitia James, who doesn't play by the same playbook and goes against Donald Trump, and they come after her. So, but to Project 2025's point, that's in there. Section 230, repeal of all that. That's why they're doing that, because they are playing by Project 2025's playbook. And in fact, you can look at this is the last thing I said. I said it earlier. I'll say it this time. There
He's
is
gonna keep lying to us, by the way.
I know. What's that guy that got out of prison for helping not Paul Manafort. God dang it. The gray-haired guy
Snowden?
that's like 100 pounds
Snowden?
overweight.
OJ Simpson?
No.
Bannon?
Bannon. Thank you. Bannon.
Bill Cosby.
Bannon went on I think it was news he was on Pierce Morgan just like a couple of days ago, and mentioned how Donald Trump is literally following. He literally admitted this. Donald Trump is following Project 2025, and that Trump is running a populist nationalist government right now. So the idea that Project 2025 is not the playbook that they're running by is absurd. They absolutely are.
Well, and I think to your point there, not only has he been stalking his administration with people from the groups that authored 2025, the groups that authored 2025 employed like over 200 ex-Trump administration people from like the 2016 reign. So it's not even, just these outside groups creating content and then trying to get him to push it. It's literally his own administration that has gone in, started fueling this, and are now riding him back into the administration in even more powerful positions.
I don't want to completely push back on everything, but I'll put it in this. I think there's more of an overlap situation than there is like a force. I don't believe that Trump is actually like pushing personally for 2025 because I don't think he wants to associate with it, and it's not his idea. But the people that are around him largely do. I'm not convinced that Vance is either on board with this either.
Shadow government.
Unironically, yes. The deep state is real. The deep state is real, and it's been invited in.
It's not that deep. It's very shallow.
It really isn't. So, Ty, we've been tossing this idea around for a while. Have you heard of the concept of the ship of Theseus?
Yes.
The ship of feces?
No.
You mother.
The ship of.
The ship of Theseus?
Sorry.
Are we doing Rovers?
Yeah, the ship of Theseus. I'm very okay.
At what point is Project 2025 Agenda 47 and vice versa? Like, when is it just the thing?
If it actually takes over the entire administration, then I'll say yes. But I largely agreed with what Doghouse was doing with the whole, like, he calls an audible, where he's the guy calling the shots. This is why we're seeing the Greenland shit. This is why we're seeing the Panama Canal, yada yada yada. Which some of it I even agree with. I don't believe that the thing I was talking about that I do want to talk about, which is the new Iron Dome / SDI initiative that he just rolled out. I don't believe that's in 2020 in 2025 either. 2025, at least from what I've seen, is a social. It's largely a social doctrine for the government to institute basically Christian nationalism. If anyone wants to disagree with me on that one, go for it. But there's a lot that doesn't entail. So I'll put it in this regard, and this will even be a steel man for you, Lethe. Will Project 2025 be a major component of the Trump administration? More likely than not, yeah. But is it going to be the entirety of the Trump administration? No way in hell.
I think I think it's, if I had to put a split on it, I'd say it's 25% Trump, 75% Project 2025. And that's me being a little bit over generous, to be honest with you. I get what you're saying, and I think that this is the thing is the first Trump administration, it's so dramatically different than the first Trump administration. One, Trump has become more senile and losing his ever-living marbles.
He doesn't even dye his hair anymore.
Well, I've been saying this too, is that like the way that they're running the government is as if they were given in like 80 to 90% win, like vote, like popular vote win. And it's like, you guys won by 1.5%. Like any sane politician would understand that that's not a mandate, and that doesn't give you like
one.
Right. And that's what I'm saying is like, you guys are going to, like, y'all thought like y'all had a red wave. If y'all don't remove elections, and that's just me being a leftist hyperbole, midterms are going to be insane. Like, y'all keep this up, please do. Because guess what? When the midterms come around, that 1.5% margin is going to be awful. You keep deporting those people. You keep trying to like take over countries. You keep trying to like sit there and say you want to remove the people from Gaza. Like, I promise you that 1.5% is going to become a very like wider margin in Democrats' favors come midterm.
Don't tell them. Like, unironically, this is the thing that if you're a Democrat, bank on it. Bank on them pissing off enough people to where you're not going to get a blowout in the next election. You're not even going to get a blowout in 2026. But you'll have enough to take the margins back. You'll be able to get the House back. You can impeach his ass again, and you can do all the stupid shit. But
to Ty's point, they're not going to win; they're going to lose. There's a distinct difference.
who's going to
Well, I
lose?
think
Let
that's
me
why
let me
they're
make
doing
sure I'm
all
on
the
the same
work.
board.
I think that's why
Republicans,
they're doing
if
all
they
the work
continue on
right
the path they're
now
on,
to
they're
get
going
rid
to
of
they're
the
going
other
to lose
branches.
enough momentum, or they just won't win.
Yeah,
Lose.
I'll go with that. It's just we're dealing with people that aren't really that right in the head, and I would love to say something a little bit nicer, right? I really would, but that's not the case at all.
We may not have to wait that long for the first electoral result, though, because it looks like Canada might be calling for an election in March.
Right. Well, hey,
I
wanna
don't
say
think
this.
that's a litmus test for fucking jack shit. I'm
Definitely
just
not.
saying.
Wait,
Oh.
Aiko, I
Since
want
Canada's
to
gonna
ask you
go
that.
conservative.
I want to ask you this, Aiko. Conservative on Canada might be a little bit different. But
If you're talking about Western Canada, no, it's not. Western
Okay.
Canada is very much conservative America.
so I want to ask this though, because one thing I'm seeing is, and I have to let you guys go soon because I have to take a test. One of the things I'll say is this. Is fuck. Oh, the polling suggests that Donald Trump. My dog farted again. She's on like a farting spree, bro. It's
Oh,
bad.
for fuck's
So you
sake!
cut it out again.
Man, there was
Like, you're gonna-
polling.
You
you're gonna
deserve
lose
every
like
bit
she
of
needs
that.
more-
I hope your dog.
There
She
was
needs
polling.
more fiber, man.
There
He'll
was
get her some
polling
fiber.
that suggests
Bro.
that your dog was going to fart. That's
right.
amazing.
No. Polling keeps showing that
Throw
Trump
some
isn't
oats in her
like,
food.
I keep seeing that polling suggests that Trump is like massively popular, right? It's like 52 or 53%, even though that's being lifted up by a lot of Republican pollsters. However, if you look at all the other metrics, like for example, like do you support DEI policies? It's like a 54% to like 46% split. So like to me, it's really interesting to see that like MAGA keeps getting hung up on that like high approval rating, but they're ignoring all the
I'm
other
sorry.
polling results.
I love the fact that I live in a world where a 53 and 52% approval rating is considered high now.
Right.
Like
right.
the bar is so fucking low.
It is, but that's what I'm saying though, right? Is it's hilarious because again, you would swear by the way that they're enacting these policies that it's 90%, 90%, 90%, 90% for everything. Like 90% of Americans hate DEI, 90% of Americans hate immigrants. It's like
Because they don't know what it is. No. Because they don't know what it is.
It's because
Like, in fact, there was a conversation where
that's because we do hate them brown people.
no, it's because there's a bunch of idiot gamers who think woke is woke when it's not. Woke is they've used these identifications, these identifiers for anything that they think is like black, minority, or gay. And then when they find out that a lot, like I remember when I said this before, when their wives start getting fired, their kids with low GPAs who are like either through nepotism or through some type of program stop getting their jobs. Right, or when they stop getting the loans because somebody, what's her name, Vivien McMahon, whatever her name is, goes in and tears up the, what's her name?
Are you talking about Linda McMahon?
Yeah, Linda. Was it Linda? Make sure I'm saying that
Linda,
right.
you're talking about Vince
Vince's
McMahon's
wife.
ex-wife?
Yeah.
Linda.
Yeah, when she gets in there and totally destroys the Department of Education and all those loans that were helping those low-income families, not just black and inner city. I should have said this before, but it's like, if anything, white. A mass majority of white people, when they find out that they get hit too, they're gonna be like, "Oh, DEI is for me too."
Well, that's the thing. Is like this past campaign, it seemed to be won on very vague populist ideas, and those sound great on the surface, but a lot of people aren't looking into like, okay, well, when he says he's gonna eliminate this department, and then it takes a while for people to research, okay, what does the department do, what are the downstream effects, how does it hit people in my state, my city, and then they're like, we're screwed, and it's too late. And that's when people turn on populism, because they voted based on slogans, and right now they feel euphoric because like, oh, they said they're going to audit, and look, they're auditing, but in reality, no, they're not auditing, they're just cutting out departments, shutting things down on what looks like ideological basis, and it's probably long term going to hurt them. So we'll see.
It could go either way. Like, this is the part where I think the kind of the nastier like race baiting conversation's kind of real, where
you can nuke DEI and not affect most of Trump's base. Because
I don't know
if you,
about that.
if
I
you
don't know
are
about that.
if you are actively going against people who are, in these positions who are getting an advancement, the only people that you're more likely to piss off than any group is white women. They're the biggest people who are elevated by DEI initiatives. But anything
Trump's
else,
biggest supporters, a lot of the times we lost because of white women.
yes, everyone talk at the same time. This works great.
Sorry about that. I'm just saying one of Trump's largest supporters were white women.
Yeah, but they're also beneficiaries of DEI. The same goes for people with disabilities, veterans, people in agriculture. DEI isn't just for minorities, unless
Right, but they weren't. But they haven't been sold that narrative. That's the problem. Is DEI has been described to them in a very specific way, and then when they start to maybe understand, like, oh, so it's not exactly what I thought it was. That's when sometimes things turn, or their SNAP benefits get cut off, or their Head Start program funding is no longer there. They're not going to care about a DEI program anymore at that point, or they probably shouldn't.
Either this is going to blow up in a lot of people's face, or it's not. Like, I'm not really convinced one way or the other because I just don't have enough data, and I'm at the point where I'll be an asshole. These people voted for this fucking son of a bitch, who, quite honestly, the Democrats should have said, you all know what I think. This is what the American people deserve. You all voted for this. Fucking live with it. I hope it goes well for you, because if it doesn't, it's entirely your fault.
I don't wish harm. I mean, I know it's tempting to like have that sentiment, but I really, even people I vehemently disagree with, I don't wish harm.
No. This isn't like me wishing harm. It's openly saying, hey, look, this is the ultimate reason to believe in liberalism.
Made the bed lie in it.
Yes. This is why, if you actually believe in democracy, if you actually believe in like the true tenets of liberalism, this is the take that you actually have to have. If people are going to be flawed and make mistakes like Jesus said they would, that's fine. But they're going to have to own those. They're going to have to own those mistakes. They're going to have to go. They're going to have to go. Oh shit! I did make a mistake. I've got to fix it now. And I'm not going to say that it's going to work out for them or not. I don't know. I have no idea what to expect out of this administration outside of just kooky fucking bananas asshole shit. Because, I mean, that was what the last administration was. And this time they're doubling down. So this is either going to be one of the best 4 years that America's ever had, or it's going to be one of the worst. Am I very confident it's going to be great? Not really. But
it's going to be great in the stock market.
I might say the greatest.
No,
the
hey guys, real quick,
the worse the situation gets, the more it's just going to be blamed on immigrants and minorities.
Right.
And if they don't get that poison out of their system, it's going to be a never-ending cycle.
Can we just acknowledge something really interesting?
Did your dog do it again?
America? She absolutely did, actually, by the way. That's why I was going to jump in earlier. And then I'm like, bro, it is bad over here. Okay. It is real bad. Okay. Just never mind. Just imagine your dog like dropping a deuce right next to you. It's what it smells like. It's bad. So don't worry. She's good. So it's very interesting to me how like Trump renaming the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of America, has like inadvertently made it a great argument to where they're like, Republicans are like, no, it's the Gulf of America. And it's like, no, it's the Gulf of Mexico. And now they're doing that thing where like, for the longest time, we kept trying to tell them about how gender works and everything else. And now they're like, no, we're like, Trump named it the Gulf of America. It's like, yeah, but that's not what it is. It's the Gulf of Mexico. And it's hilarious to watch them pretzel themselves into an argument that we've been making for the longest time.
Wait, out of all the hills to actually die on for either side, this one's one of the dumb ones to me. Like, all right, cool, we can rename shit. Like we renamed Mount McKinley again. That's fine. I don't give a shit. But does this matter? No. Like, unironically, I think no matter which side you're on the aisle when it comes to this particular issue, you're just wasting political capital. You're wasting energy and you're wasting time. And you're kind of making anyone who's half sane make you all look like idiots, or look at you all like idiots, because it's like, who cares?
In fairness,
yeah, no one cares about the name change.
In fairness, there's a lake here in Minnesota, and they renamed it recently, maybe 6, 7, 5-ish years ago, somewhere in there, right? In the recent history, they renamed it to what its original native name was, which is Bade-Makaska, and like everyone lost their fucking minds. Like, so in fairness to those people, like, fuck you. Like, if you're gonna, or not in fairness to them, right? But to that point, right? If you're gonna lose your fucking mind about renaming it to Bade-Makaska, like, and you're gonna like, no, we have to name it Gulf of America. Fuck you, and you can't bitch about it.
Yeah, and I want to say this too, is that like this actually is becoming a big deal, but not in the way of like the name itself. Like I said, the Associated Press was cut off from there, and basically, let me see if I can find the exact wording from the press secretary. Hold on, I'll look for you. I'll continue to talk.
So
Hey,
does this just mean that America is now responsible for what happens in the Gulf, right? The BP oil spill is now.
You mean we weren't the first time?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's our fault now. Anything that happens in there, I think maybe Mexico would take that trade if we actually took responsibility for shit that happened there.
Even the movement is in for the Panama Canal. Like that's gonna be nasty.
Why is this
the America Canal?
All right, this is the part that pisses me off. Why is this administration half right on everything? And it's like,
What was
you
the
guys
half
are
they
hitting
had right?
the. Okay, let me go down the list.
You're half wrong.
I know. Number one, the thing I was talking about, the whole like Iron Dome SDI initiative. Yes, I've been wanting this for years. I want to be able to tell the Russians we don't give a fuck about whatever you're doing you're in Ukraine, because if you decide to launch the nukes, we're going to laze them as they're leaving the silos. Please, let's fucking do it. Let's go. But here's the problem. Why are we even remotely talking about this? Because Trump's number 2 buddy is the guy who's going to be making a shitload of money launching the satellites. Fuck. Corruption. God damn it.
But also Putin's doing the job for us, right? They launch an intermediate range missile and it blows up in the air. So they're kind of self-lazing, you know.
Look, I am a huge fan of Russian incompetence. I'm not going to stop them. But on the other side of that, do we want to have our insurance policy hoping that all of Russia's nukes, if they decide to launch them, are just going to happen to explode in midair? That's a bad insurance policy for me.
The vast majority of them will, and then the ones that don't will like actually get get shot down by our anti-missile like technology. The odds of one actually landing, if you look at the statistics, holy shit, tongue-tied. The odds of a nuclear missile from Russia landing in America without A, exploding, B, being shot down, and C, landing and not exploding is like extremely minimal.
None of those are good scenarios either, though.
Yeah, the problem is they've got, at least by my last count, like at least 1,200 that are literally ready to launch at a moment's notice. And that's not counting the ones in the boomers or the ones that they've got in the fucking aircraft or whatever. I don't want to play the statistical odds of 1,200 nukes, personally. Because even if they've got a 1% accuracy rate there, that's 120 nukes that still hit you in the face. Yeah, let's not. Or I'm sorry, is it 12?
I live near. I live within
that reality doesn't happen until they're
where a large chunk of our nukes are. I'll take that risk.
That reality doesn't happen until like they're like sufficiently like economically either like partnered with China. Or until they're like, you know, I don't see that happening for a while. Like,
no one
right
should
after
they're rotting from the inside out.
Despite the relationship that Russia and China have had over the last 30 years, that's becoming more and more of a thing.
So yeah, I wanted to bump in here for just a quick second because I am about to get off in like 2 seconds. So I found the quote. This is from the. I said that 2 seconds ago, but I promise it'll be 2 more seconds. So The press secretary stated today that she was very upfront in her briefing on day one that if we feel that there are lies being pushed by outlets in this room, we are going to hold those lies accountable. And it is a fact that the body of water off the coast of Louisiana is called the Gulf of America. She also stated that Collins said, which White House official made the decision to bar the AP reporter? Levitt said it is a privilege to cover this White House. I didn't know it was a privilege to cover this White House. And Collins said, isn't this retaliatory? Levitt said, it is a fact that the body of water off the coast of Louisiana is called the Gulf of America. So
Okay,
what we're seeing...
Another thing this
Bullshit.
administration is half wrong about, actually, this is one of the things they've been 100% with. There is no obligation for anyone within the White House or the press corps to openly engage with anyone who actually, wants to be in the press room. They can tell all those people to get fucked. They can even get rid of the press or secretary position writ large, and the president can just tell the press corps whatever the fuck they want, whenever they want. I'm actually glad this is happening. It's just the worst person to fucking do it. To go,
they
hey,
can
look.
choose not to say anything, but they can't bar them from it. Like that's
Yeah, they
freedom
can.
of press. No.
No. It's a two-way relationship. There is no part of this where you can say, hey, look, you can say whatever you want about us, but you can't say it in this or come from this fucking room. You can't be here anymore.
Petty. That's petty. I don't
It's petty
understand
as
why
fuck,
we're-
and I want to see it. I've been waiting for a president to go, if you were going to talk about me like a bunch of fucking petulant little children where you just want to spin your little bullshit, fuck you, you're not welcome here anymore.
Where do you draw your threshold at that?
It's arbitrary as fuck, and go for it. Like, I actually want to see a press secretary and a president do this forever, and I'm just pissed off. It happens to be the fucking asshole president that does it.
So Ty, put a
you are
Project
correct,
2025
but
executive action tracker in the side shot.
Yeah, so the thing about what Ty said, though, you're not... I don't know the legality of just barring everybody from coming there.
Law?
No. I'm just talking about... I'm talking about if you were to bar reporter or a specific reporter or specific reporters from the press room, and like I could totally see where somebody's suing and saying, "Hey, look, you're violating freedom of the press and freedom of speech." I guarantee the Supreme Court, not even a biased one, would say no. Like a president can tell you, "I don't want to I don't want to work with you as a reporter." Like you're not somebody I find credible. You're not somebody I find.
They can tell them to fuck off. Absolutely.
They can.
But over the Gulf of America.
That's the issue. That's the issue.
Yeah, that's the part where it's like it's over the top. But the only part that I will defend here, and I hate to even defend it at all, is they're simply just laying down the law. It's like, nah, what we say here goes, and if you don't like it, you don't have to be here anymore.
Yeah, that lacks all character. That's just totally art of the deal. Make me feel good, and I'll let you in the room.
I am never going to say that this administration is an administration of character.
This is why Trump has Paula White in there.
The media should be adversarial.
Trump is bringing in a bunch of people who are making him feel good, and this is why we bring up Project 2025. Or like, we don't need to rehash that conversation. You have a bunch of individuals in the room who are just yes men who aren't willing to say anything, but behind your back, like they hate your guts. They're putting in all they're implementing everything that they want to do. That is like totally against the American public, right? And it's only for the interests of a small population, right? The Bible Belt, maybe. Like,
wait, I got something right here though.
No, let him finish.
It doesn't work out in the end.
Wait, which part doesn't work out? I'm a little lost to where your point was going there.
We started making it together.
The point is when when we just have Trump in there, only having people around him who are only who are complicit and subservient and who are just making him feel good about the decisions he makes, and he has no people in the room who are critically like analyzing or giving any type of feedback or pushback.
They're all yes
Number
men.
one, there's like there are offshoots of things because the Associated Press is supposed to provide like news, they're not just some anti-Trump organization.
They're not a promoting.
There's several readers who are just trying to get their news, and when you're out of the room because you don't want to agree to the Gulf of Mexico, that's a petty reason.
Is it petty? Yes. And like, here's my issue. At least where you're going with. I agree with every criticism you have here. I absolutely do. I think this is going to be one of the shittiest administrations we've ever seen in American history. I really do. But when it comes down to it, this is the part where I want to scream at the American public. You put so much fucking trust and so much power into the hands of somebody that you elect, particularly for president, that if they decide to say or to go fuck it and go screaming Marvin into the wild blue yonder, they can do it, and there is nothing to stop them except for Congress and the judiciary. And right now, we're already seeing that this wonderful guy is saying he's going to abide by whatever the judiciary goes by, but I'm not convinced of that. I think we're going to see major lawsuits out of this administration because of the fact that he's just going to say
the executive too much power is a problem. Weird.
I know, right? It's almost like I've been bitching about this constantly, and the people who say they don't like this have been the biggest perpetrators of it for the last 40 fucking years.
Cough, Republicans.
Yeah.
So okay, so there is some legal basis here. It's not super in depth, nor does it really need to be, but it has been challenged before, and we forget very quickly. In 2018, Jim Acosta had his press credentials revoked by the Trump administration, and they filed a lawsuit against the I believe White House. Yeah, against the White House after learning the reporter Jim Acosta's press credentials would be fully restored. It says on Friday, a federal judge ordered the White House to temporarily restore the press credential of CNN reporter Jim Acosta, which was pulled after a verbal brush-up with President Donald Trump at a news conference. The judge cited Fifth Amendment grounds of due process in his emergency order while allowing the case to continue. 3 days earlier, CNN filed a suit naming as defendants the president, aides, so on and so forth. As detailed, the judge's order is consistent with lower court rulings dating back more than 40 years ago that raised First and Fifth Amendment concerns, and decisions to deny White House media credentials called a hard pass. While presidents have squared off against individual reporters in the past, media credentials are rarely revoked for a reporter who regularly covers the White House. A half-century ago, however, the Secret Service periodically denied media credentials for niche or alternative media. This led to lawsuits in the 1970s that tested whether the White House had the authority to deny a hard pass and on what grounds.
You don't have to read a whole Wikipedia entry, but basically what you're telling me is that usually when this has actually happened, the judiciary has sided with the reporter, is what you're going at.
Essentially, yeah. So the issue, and it's based on First and Fifth Amendment grounds, and so in other words, like they hold now that press room is pretty sacred. So if that reporter has been there for the past 20 years or whatever it may be, and all of a sudden they decide to just revoke it for the sake of the fact of the Gulf of Mexico issue, which was really dumb for them to say that. There's a serious Fifth Amendment and potentially even First Amendment violation, and the courts would heavily side with that reporter. And
that's a little wild to me, but like, number one, I will take the correction because I'm kind of surprised that judges actually went that route. Personally,
was that the Supreme Court that decided that?
No, this is the appellate courts.
The appellate courts so far. Yeah, and it seems like they backed down from it after the White House ended up. So it sounds like the appellate courts were like, "Yo, bro, you don't have a chance in hell. Yeah, you don't have a chance in hell on this." And before it got to the Supreme Court, they just decided to take the path of least resistance and give Jim Acosta his press credentials back. But they only allowed him to ask one question per press briefing. So yeah, they severely limited him in what he could say.
I would be a cunt that would, if I hated the press, and I kind of do, I would be the guy that actually is like, no, I'm going to take this to the Supreme Court because I think that as a president, I should be able to pick who I want to talk to. Because like I can talk to different reporters on and off the, when I'm getting off Air Force One, I don't have to talk to all of them, right? I should be able to pick.
Well, that's the question, right? Does every reporter in the room get to ask a question every time?
As far as I'm aware, no. Like they largely get to pick on answering. So I guess you can always just be the cunt who says, "Hey, look, I'm going to let you be here, but I'm never going to actually let you ask a question." But I'm a
But it's
little bit
still
more.
important that everybody's in the room because you want an accurate depiction of like what's been asked and what the answers were. So even if you don't get to ask a question, you're gonna take down everything that transpired in there.
So okay, this is an argument I can probably get behind, even though I wouldn't appreciate it. Is even if you are never allowed to ask a question, being in the room allows you a level of accountability that otherwise could not be there. Is that where we're going?
Yeah, basically. I mean, I know some of them are televised, but there's so many different officials that talk to the media for different reasons. I think it's a good idea to have multiple outlets of all kind of political persuasions to be in there to get some type of accounting documented. That way, we're sure we're not just getting like a carefully crafted narrative.
I can take that argument. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I can work with it and say, all right, you got a point for sure. Yeah, I'll rest my laurels on this one. I think between you and Doghouse, I'm just going to give up on this particular argument line.
Hey, look, I rest my case. I'll take what I got. So no, I think this is the big issue, and so I saw chat was going off about the court orders, and I got into it with Lactoid on Twitter today. I don't really usually get into back and forths, but about how he kind of said that Trump would doesn't disobey an order, a court order, and I'm like, how many examples do you want? And he then went to say that even though he violated a temporary restraining order, that somehow that wasn't a violation of a court order. I'm like, okay, a judge decided that he violated the TRO, but sure. And then he went to this extent of saying, well, was Trump charged with contempt? I'm like, you can still violate a TRO and not be charged with contempt. like it's very simple. It's called, you violated the order. Here's the remedy. If you don't do the remedy, then I'll hold you in contempt. So the question of it would be, right, in the last administration, they absolutely caved to Jim Acosta. The question is, would they do it here? So, but yeah. So we'll see how that goes with the temporary federal.
No, thanks.
They probably calculate the route that they went the first time and lost, and see if they have a stronger route to make their argument this time. Maybe.
But your mic is hot.
Maybe.
Whose mic's hot?
Rich.
Oh, yeah. I'm not hearing anything out of it. It's just constantly
Yeah, I
green.
don't hear Rich at all.
Rich is probably.
Yeah, same.
I'm here.
Yeah, he's here. It's not actually active.
Mm.
You suck,
Okay,
Rich.
Echo, what do you think?
Who?
It's probably
Rich?
my air conditioning or something.
No, like we're not hearing anything from it. It's just for some reason in Discord, it's registering. It's constantly going off.
Because my noise
might be
gate's
like-
not on. And my noise gate's not on because I cut off a lot when it is on.
Look, all I'm saying is that feds could be listening. All right. So
Oh, they are listening.
Oh, I'm banning him.
I will actually confess that I am amazed that I did not get nailed with a TOS violation for that one stream.
I'm
not gonna lie.
Quickly.
I don't blame you, but I'm still amazed that I didn't get fucking yeeted.
What'd you do?
I let my unfiltered opinion go off on a Lethe stream the other day because I thought he wasn't streaming anymore.
Something about the Tree of Liberty and yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, sure, yeah. Something blood. Got it.
Basically Tiberius Sociopath came out a little bit, okay?
Look, I y'all know me. I will leave on this note. Actually, I am gonna leave as soon as I get done with this rant. I will, because I said I was gonna get off like 2 seconds ago. But, I'm not someone who sits there and fearmongers. But there is a lot of reasons to be fearful with this new administration, and this is coming from someone who was a devout, who used to be. This is someone who used to be a former like super hard like MAGA supporter, there comes a point where you just look in the mirror and you go, how many times can I sit here and say it's a negotiation tactic? How many times can I sit here and say Trump didn't mean what he said? How many times can I sit here and say, you know, like when you run out of those excuses, you just bang the table.
Congratulations, you traded one Colt for another. How do you feel?
I did not trade one Colt for another, my friend.
Yes, you did,
No,
motherfucker.
no,
you went.
no.
You went over to the Democrats.
Absolutely not.
Like if you were
Oh,
playing Team Centrist, I would
100% you
totally.
did.
I would totally be on
Democrats
board
are
with this.
not a cult. I'll tell you that. In that election from Kamala Harris,
Oh,
proved
They're-
that.
fuck, they're
Kamala
not.
Harris proved
Hey,
that it was
thank
not
you,
a cult.
Change Fox. Appreciate it.
And I'll tell you how. And this is where this is where I'll land
All right,
my
let's
plane,
hear
so to
it.
speak.
Let's hear it.
Right on the couch.
Think about what we saw with Gaza. Okay, we saw that, and then we also saw far leftists who were like Bernie bros who didn't really support Kamala Harris. We can see that by sheer numbers, right? Democrats did 80 million in the last election with Joe Biden, and they only did 75 million. There is an
It's
80
not
million
an
Democrat.
insignificant part of why they lost. Yes.
There is an 80 million voter base out there. So if the Democrats were a cult, and here's the other thing too, is polling bears this out as well. If you look at polling time and time and time and time again, conservatives consistently have the same message. It is like 93 to 95%.
Weird. It's almost like that's the definition of conservative is to remain the same.
No. That's not. No. I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. If you sit there and, for example, it'd be like, do you support immigration? And the respondents on the bottom line, it'll say conservative 93%. When you look at the Democrats, it's like 80-20 or whatever. It's dramatically more spread out, and this is consistent for everything. Do you think the election was, fraudulent or whatever? It would be like the same thing, 93-7, and it's consistent where they're just tight knit like that. But Democrats and even independents are far more spread out, and so the idea that the Democrats are somehow a cult is laughable because the only party on the right is the MAGA party. On the left, you've got progressive, you got socialists, you got Marxists, you got communists, you got
you couldn't be no.
So you're telling me you're telling me then that the right wing right now is not like made up of like 99% MAGA. You might have your libertarian in there.
I'll take a weird take here, but I 100% actually believe this. The thing where the Democrats and the Republicans are apart is that the Democrats do have their own little cult religion kind of thing going on. The difference between the two parties is that the Democrats are the closet, small get-together cult. The Republicans are an organized religion, and that's the difference that we're playing at here.
Quite literally, Christianity, organized religion.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Components, right? They're under the umbrella, and that's the whole thing. Is the Conservative Party is always been an umbrella party that come together to win elections, and then they fight after the election, and the Democrats do the opposite. So the conservatives that aren't MAGA are going along because that's just what they've done for decades and decades and decades. And the second there's a chink in the armor, that's when the knives are going to come out and they're going to burn them down. So
don't do this.
I'm not playing this. I'm not.
That's not the way to do this right now.
Your self-identification, whatever.
That's fucking funny, but no, don't do this.
Do you need me to turn my camera on?
No.
It's
just gonna be you in blackface, and I'm over it.
That hurt a little bit. That definitely hurt a little.
All right, guys, I'm getting off, but let me just say this: Bernie for 2028, okay?
Dude, isn't he gonna be like 90 by the time that happens?
Listen, Tiberius,
There's
age
plenty
doesn't
of
matter
people-
anymore. Age doesn't matter anymore. We've got a 78-year-old geriatric patient in the freaking White House right now, okay?
You know what?
So-
Of course it-
Honestly, you say that, we all said that about Biden, and that's also true. But the Bernie Bros and the Elon Musk burning all down people have more in common than they want to think.
Oh, here we go.
No,
Here we
seriously.
go. Here it comes.
Again, this is chaos theory. This is burning
No,
all
you know
down.
what?
and see
I got
happens.
fine. IPA. You know what? Fine. I won't be a Bernie bro. Okay? I'll be a AOC bro. Okay? How about that? She's 35.
I
She can
want
run.
Booker in the house.
No,
Corey
I
now.
like I think she's the next. She's the next candidate. I think she's got it. I think we should do AOC. And you know what? As VP, since Kamala didn't do too great in the president, make her AOC's VP. Give her that
AOC would
experience.
never. If you think Kamala was bad, how do you
AOC
think the
would be
American public?
AOC would actually be a better candidate than Kamala was.
Yeah, she would be a better candidate.
You think
But-
this country is
Fine. You know
capable
what?
of
Okay,
electing
look,
a
I got,
woman?
I got a
vote
better
for her.
combo. Better combo. You ready for
AOC
this?
versus Marjorie Taylor Greene. Book it.
No.
Condoleezza
AOC as the presidential candidate, and she picks Jasmine Crockett as her VP. Come on,
I
now.
like
You think
Jasmine
this-
Crockett.
You think this country can elect a woman?
Yes.
Not yet.
Well,
Like,
and you know what?
This
we
country
did-
can absolutely elect a
I-
woman.
Well, okay,
Hold
I
on,
know.
we-
Keep putting
we've
them
already
forward.
had 47
Okay, fine.
experiments.
All right,
with the-
I do have to
with
get off, but I'll wrap it
regards
around to this. I'll make it come full circle. We saw what
0
happened
out of
to-
47 times.
Aiko, you know what? You're very right because we saw how people were receptive to the Super Bowl halftime show. So I completely agree with you that any minority does not have a chance in hell to run for this election
Again,
because of the way that
fuck
America
you,
views
Doghouse,
everything.
for the idea that I can't dislike Kendrick Lamar.
Game over.
His music sucks. Okay.
Listen, IPA. Okay, you only
Why does
prove
it have to
my-
be about the fact that he's black and I'm racist? His music is trash.
Stop it.
Sure,
That doesn't even make any
sure.
sense.
59. There've been 59
Get
elections.
some help.
What are the
Okay,
only
I just had to bring it
things
back
that,
around full circle. You'll have a great one.
candidates have
I'll
lost?
talk
How
about
many
it later.
times
Wait,
does a woman
Doghouse,
want
hold on.
59?
Maybe in 4 years we'll be ready for a woman. 4 years.
In 4
Maybe
years,
she'll
are
be
you ready
white.
for a woman.
So your
That's what Shirley.
It's so
Shirley
Rich's
Jackson
prognosis here is that because we haven't elected a woman, no woman can run. Is that really what we're at right now?
No, what I'm saying is that the risk of losing is so great that you don't want to give yourself an artificial disadvantage in that next race.
Well, sooner or later, someone's gonna have to break that glass ceiling. But all right,
That's a little spicy, but I hear
No,
what you're saying.
both parties have to have a handshake deal that they both not get a woman nominated. Then we can find out.
Condoleezza Rice,
I
2028.
I'm
Okay,
I'm
but
actually
that's-
expecting that the first woman
but that's
president will be a
artificial.
I
Republican.
wouldn't be
Right?
mad at
That's both
if
parties.
Wait, how
Michelle
old
Obama.
isn't
That's
Condoleezza Rice in her upper
Elections.
70s?
That's
too?
both parties saying, "Yep, woman versus woman." That's facing it. Okay.
What woman?
Michelle
What
Obama.
woman
People are
is
saying Michelle Obama. If somebody of her ilk, if AOC can put on a Michelle Obama masterclass for the country over the next 4 years, then maybe. Otherwise, I don't think AOC has a chance in hell.
What about clobbering time? Klobuchar.
Klobuchar's
Klobuchar?
too-
No,
Yeah, she's not gonna make it.
No, absolutely not.
If I didn't despise her, Gabbard actually would have been a strong run.
Oh,
Gretchen Whitmire.
Okay,
Wait.
Whitmer, I'm a little biased
Wait,
against
hold
Whitmer.
on, hold on. What is this main character syndrome? She would have had a strong run if you didn't despise her. Like your hatred of her.
You know
is
what?
the reason why
Yo,
she
thank you,
can't win.
Aiko. This is
That's
full
not-
circle. Because
that-
Tiberius said
that's-
this to me on this very platform before.
That's fair. That's fair. Basically, I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
she
like,
could have won, except I hate her.
Yeah, Ty. What
what I'm actually trying to say here, because I suck at words sometimes, is that I think she would have a strong run. I don't know if she'd actually win, but I wouldn't vote for her. That's what I was trying to say. Okay.
Yo, that tickled me so much because Tiberius called me a main character a long time ago.
Oh, did I?
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that is literally the pot calling the kettle black because I've got main character syndrome out the ass. So
Other than her gun policies, like
That's funny.
yeah.
Man, she could have won, except she couldn't get Ty.
I
That's
mean,
funny.
could she win? Yeah, I think she actually could. Do I want to vote for her? No, not since about 2018.
I tell you what, she surprised me in recent years because she used to be, like a far left candidate or whatever. But then she started
she was
making all of this
always been
noise, like
moderate left.
She
how
was.
pragmatic she is. Like,
was a
oh,
Bernie
even if we get a moderate in office, we can push Biden in ways that we can't push Trump, stuff like that. Man, that stuff was really super pragmatic and helpful, and got people on the left to vote for Biden in 2020.
She's made a transition, but at least I was hyping her up around 2016 because I was like, hey, this is going to be somebody who's like a real big deal coming into politics. But what
Peace
what
out,
happened
Changebox.
is that like her dad died, and apparently she decided to go mask off, and it turns out she's a cunt. So yeah.
Don't you talk about Mama Tulsi like that?
I'm sorry, man. Like she really disappointed me, real bad.
I'm just skeptical
I
about
kind of
what
feel
you
like she
can
was more
believe.
mask off before, and now she's a lot more media savvy. That was-
I really feel like she went from, playing along for basically the people who were writing her the checks to when she finally felt like she could go out on her own. That shit stopped real quick.
I'm skeptical of complete political makeovers.
she doesn't need the checks anymore. That's true.
Yeah.
Although she might if she ran for Senate.
Where's she gonna run in?
New York.
Tulsi's gonna run in New York?
Oh no, you said I thought you meant AOC.
Oh no. I was talking about Tulsi.
AOC would have
Um,
to tone it down so much.
I was never impressed by Tulsi. Never.
Yeah, so AOC's grown on me a lot because she's matured in a lot of ways.
See that?
Huh?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like if she tones it down and matures, she'll garner a bigger base.
I'm gonna have to see where she disagrees with her older self, because she said a lot of the fucking spicy shit that it would not be like hugely popular. But
Yeah, the socialism shit.
more like the never mind.
No,
I thought it was weird how she kicked out
I'm,
Amazon.
I'm curious. What?
Oh,
You thought it was weird how she kicked out Amazon. Why?
Yeah.
She didn't kick out of Amazon. She pissed them off, but yeah.
Yeah, she got.
I mean,
kicked out.
she ruined that for New York, is what she did.
Does she tell them they have to take
That would have
bathroom breaks?
ruined Queens. That would have ruined Queen City. That right there. If they had moved in, first of all, like the tax cuts would have sent, it would have sent the city into like a havoc. Third
Yeah,
of
I
all, the
think it's
traffic.
reasonable to say that the tax
Oh
incentives.
no!
weren't worth
People keeping their money would have been horrible.
Yeah, I agree, IPA.
well-
Thank you.
In all fairness, New York City, they're now looking at the down the barrel of the
Oh
gun
no!
here,
Because I wouldn't spend the fucking $65,000 a year that get taxed on other shit. No,
Property
weird.
tax.
It would've-
This
no, it
goes
would've
back
destroyed
to
New-
the pin in the chat right now. IPA, do you listen to Dave Matthews Band while you yell about taxes being theft?
No, I hate Dave Matthews, but that's another thing.
Damn it, you just hate music. So your opinion no
And
longer
OA
matters when it comes
And
down to halftime.
OAR and
People aren't keeping their money. All that money is going to funnel to Amazon, and Amazon is giving none of that money back to the city because of the tax break. Same thing would have happened to Jersey. Thank God it didn't happen there.
Okay, so
It would
either
have been a
which
lot
way,
of jobs.
I'm with you on
Maybe.
this. The problem is, no matter what New York does at this point, they're gonna have that unless they somehow stop losing people. New York City, I believe Philadelphia is now starting to follow suit. A lot of the Boston's doing this as well. A lot of the major metros in the Northeast corridor are literally population draining, and they're losing their tax revenues in the same way like Detroit had been doing for a very long time. They're gonna find themselves insolvent here before like 2035.
It's what they were doing with and this is what, maybe this is like some credence in the migrant conversation. It's what they were doing for migrants at the time, and that what they were not doing for the actual populations who've been living there for generations. Like a lot of reform that people have been asking for has not been implemented, right? Like increasing minimum wage, like fixing transportation, building rebuilding homes, cleaning up the community. But then all of a sudden there was all this money for the migrant populations, right? And I think it was just because people thought, oh, this is gonna lead to my ticket for like a higher, if I like Eric Adams wants to like move on to like run for a higher seat or run for governor or whatever. And he was like, oh, maybe I'm going to do this. But he was ignoring all the other populations. And then
pandering is bad.
I'm more
Well-
thinking that Are you telling me that the Trump talking point of why actually people are running from the Democratic Party is true?
Well, it's not that it was never wrong. Like we knew that. It was just that what the opposite was
So
just an
virtue
extreme.
signaling.
And it's
Virtue
extreme what they're
signaling
doing right
back.
now. The extreme was send them home, and now send them home, and now the people who are actually doing the labor jobs, right, and who are actually helping out, and, and just wanted to work and live and mind their own business, they're gone, and then there was there was nothing to fill that in. Attitudes aren't going back. So it's like,
Yeah, and if they
TLDR,
wanted more,
virtue
if they
signaling bad. Okay.
if they wanted
Yeah.
more funding for their cities, they would have run left, not to Trump. Trump ain't giving them more money to fix their cities.
Oh, I don't disagree with that. I'm just more impressed that like people actually agree with the narrative talking point where it's like, hey, the cities or these people are giving all the money for the immigrants and there's nothing for us.
well, they have a large immigrant population, so a lot of the family members who actually are citizens there, a lot of those non-citizens were cousins.
Hold on. There's nothing for us, but they wouldn't take what immigrants are willing to take. That I think that's the difference. So what
and
they're
that's
saying is they
yeah.
don't want to compete on a level playing field with immigrants. That's really what it is.
Okay, I've got about 4 questions from that, so I'll have to break that one down. But what do you mean they don't want to play on a level playing field?
I mean, the immigrants aren't being offered anything that isn't being offered to everybody. They're not getting like a special deal. They're getting this. They're getting, if anything, they're getting a worse deal, right? Because people are willing to give like American citizens, like first of all, if you're an undocumented immigrant, then you're going to have to be paid under the table. You're going to have to accept less money. You're going to have to take a lot of risks. Even before Trump came into office,
money
we had
when
to
you
take a lot of
factor in
risks for
when you
that.
factor in taxes. It's
So
not less
yeah,
money.
so if you want to hire somebody and you offer them what you would have hired an undocumented immigrant, I mean that they would just laugh at you and move, they wouldn't take that job.
So there are people like Elon running around right now getting government subsidies, and the problem with our tax system is all the poor people and the illegal immigrants that are sucking up all the money.
No, it's not. They're not the problem. That's not the issue. It's not
I
that
was
they're the
asking
problem.
IPA specifically, but by all means.
Why not both? No. You're assuming that I have a problem, that I don't have a problem with that. When the reality is,
Because
why
he's
not-
Asian.
Why not both?
I don't hear people complaining that we need to deport billionaires.
Or Asians.
Why do we need to deport billionaires?
Whoa,
and
whoa,
Asians?
whoa. I'm not saying deport anybody unless they are leeching off the government. Okay, look, if we get rid of the welfare state, then I have no problem getting rid of anybody or letting anybody stay here because there's not any of my tax dollars to leech off of. Okay, if you want to come here and you're not a criminal, great, cool, whatever. Come here, welcome to America, no problem. Okay,
They're not leeching per se. It's just that we were just giving them this exorbitant amount of handouts for some reason that were just like, where did this come from?
my point is,
And they
if you
just
get rid of
started doing it like on a crazy scale.
My point is, if you get rid of the welfare state, then there's absolutely nothing wrong.
You're
with
not
you.
getting the welfare state is going to grow.
Shits if you come here, okay?
Damn it! You're
Sorry, I
you're
cut you
actively
off.
making me hope that the libertarian wins. Okay, stop doing that.
The welfare state, if anything, is going to grow now.
Stop growing the welfare state. It doesn't work.
That's exactly what's going to happen. It's going to grow in the next 4 years. Unless there's some radical economic change.
Oh, weird! It's almost like Elon Musk is trying to do that. What?
Stop it. I'm not trading my dollar for Doge. Unless he like gets rid of like my student loans.
No.
This student loan
You
has
just-
another
no,
tax.
no, no, no,
It'll
no.
work
You-
this
no, no.
time.
You literally just said unless some radical economic thing happens. Wonder what's going on now. And if in case somebody gets rid of your student loans, okay, let's talk about student loans for a second. Okay, me as a guy the average American that has
It
student
was a
loans.
trap.
Who holds the vast majority of student loans? The people that hold the vast majority of student loans, or rather not hold, because the people that hold the vast majority of student loans are literally the federal government because of the ACA in 2010. Anyway, the people that owe the vast majority of student loans are people who make over the median income in America. So if you abolish all of our student loans, and I understand that blah blah blah, let's not get into it's going to cost me more tax dollars. It's not. I get it. I understand that. Okay, I understand how that works. It's a jubilee. It's not a payback. Blah blah blah. It doesn't cost us any more money. The money's already paid.
Stop deflecting. Go.
All you're doing is giving motherfuckers like me more goddamn money. Okay,
That's good.
That's all you're doing.
Oh, they're not giving you.
Yeah,
more
that's
money.
good.
They're just erasing.
That's
debt.
not a problem.
You have no more money.
It's
Right.
not.
Okay,
Wait,
you're-
that's a
You
good
go
thing.
from
Correct.
negative 30,000 to
You
zero.
are
So, you have
erasing
more
my
free cash flow.
$542 a month debt. I can already fucking afford it. All you're doing is making me that much more rich.
Well, you're welcome. Okay,
That's
because it's
good.
not just
That's
you.
not Yeah, and
You're
it's not
right.
just you.
It's not just me. Most of the people in America who have student loan debt make more than the average income.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
the
I
problem is
don't care.
it's going back. The money isn't going back into the community. It's going back into the banks, who most often aren't in the community. Then
Incorrect.
whatever
It
the
does not
banks
go
doing,
back to the banks.
or the federal
Wrong.
government.
Wrong. 100% wrong. ACA. All of the loans that are given out to students for college are owned by the federal government. They're going back to the government. There is no bank involved.
I said if they're getting private loans, yes.
Private loans are a whole other thing. You're not forgiving private loans. When they talk about student loan forgiveness, it is not private loans. It is federal loans.
Okay, so yeah, I apologize. I did add private loans, but yes, a lot of that, and I did say
Private
federal
loans are-
government. A
private
lot of
loans are
that
a whole
money is
other thing.
going back into the federal government.
Technically,
loans
they're
are for
going to the
suckers.
Department of Education, which you'd have to make an argument that the Department of Education is useful in some way, shape, or form. But that's a whole other story. Okay, at the end, no, time out. At the end of the day, that money has already been given, right? And this is my biggest thing when it comes to conservatives when they go, student loan forgiveness. No, fuck off. Okay, the money has already been given to the educational institutions. Okay, if I loan you $25 and 6 months from now I go, hey, you know what, that $25 you owe me, don't worry about it, it's no big deal. Okay, it's just I'm striking it from the record. I'm not passing it on to anybody else. And that's the thing that conservatives don't understand. They think that they're just passing it on to someone else. No, that's not the case.
Yeah, it's their pocket. They're the government. They understand.
Correct, because the
They're
government
like,
owns
they
the
owe
loan.
us this money. We want our
No,
money.
no,
Why are you
but the
forgiving this money
government
on our
owns
behalf?
the
No one
loan.
voted for that.
We already paid the money. The money already went to educational
Yeah.
institutions.
And the American people are sitting here with an IOU in their hand, and you want to rip it up, and they're like, "No, that's my IOU. You just ran a
No,
platform
that
on
money
it
ain't
and you
coming back
lost."
to me. I'm not going to see a goddamn penny of any of that.
Well, I mean, that's the problem, right?
Maybe.
What's the problem?
That money isn't going back into you, your family, your community.
Correct. Yes, I agree with you, and that's my issue with Republicans when they say exactly that. They're like, "Oh well, it's my money. It's going to cost me more money. It's going to increase my taxes." No, the fuck, it's not. It already got paid to the educational institution.
If anything, it actually fucks the government, which is one of the things that I'm not for because
You are the
education.
government.
That's where in theory that's where that money goes. Is back to the Department of Education.
Yeah.
You are the Department of Education.
So
I am the Department of Education, dude. Somebody lied to me.
The Department
To
of
my point, that would necessitate that you make an argument that the Department of Education is useful in some way, shape, or form, which I'm kind of offense on.
Well, you'd have to make an argument that these people with student loans are useful in some way, shape, or form, which I'm not completely sold on.
I know. So
No. Fact of the matter. Again, I stated this before. I've stated it twice now. The average person, the average income of somebody who has student loan debt is higher than the median income. Okay, like that. Yes, 100%. People who go to college tend to earn more money.
You know
Okay,
what
that's
the
just.
most important thing
I think
they're
most of us here
probably
agree with
doing
that.
in their
Yeah.
life is? They're paying their student loans every month, and that revenue is coming into the government.
The only
Again, that
yes.
necessitates us agreeing that the Department of Education has some sort of use. I
Sure,
don't.
let's do that then.
I don't 100% agree with that.
Are you saying that? But well, okay, so what's the percentage of them living paycheck to paycheck?
It's one of those.
I don't know. I'd have to look that up, dude.
It's low. Just go with the
Why are we
idea.
bailing
It's
these people
low.
out then?
Like most of the people,
They're
like
not
what is
living
it?
paycheck to paycheck, and they're above the median. Why are we bailing them out?
Because it's political.
Dude, no, I'm not disagreeing with you. That's what I'm saying. Bailing out student loans is
to agree
fucking
with
stupid when a vast majority of people who have student loans make more than the median income. That's fucking dumb.
I mean, I think it's pretty smart to make more than median income. More people should strive to do that.
Are we all just trolling each other now? Like, hey, this is good.
Yeah,
but then I'm gonna-
no one does. It's not a bailout. Isn't the solution?
Straight up, I do not need the bailout. Okay, I am the average person with a student loan debt. I make more than the median income. I don't fucking need the bailout.
But you would benefit from the reduction
Yes,
of that debt.
He would benefit. He admits that, right? What he's
everybody, yeah, everybody.
Well, I'm not okay. I'm not on the everybody thing, and there's just one reason for it, and I know that it's something that people have been talking about forever, but it's never happened yet. I'm scared shitless our government's actually on track to default, and it will probably happen by the time we.
It is.
Yeah, it's probably going to happen actually by the end of this presidency if something doesn't change. Because if we continue on the route that we're going to be 50 trillion in the hole by the time Donnie walks out of office for the second time, and we're already paying over $1 trillion just in interest for the feds, and our interest rates are going up. If you haven't noticed, yeah, this is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, which is weird because they went down twice in November and December.
Yeah, they're not going up; they're going down.
Maybe
I don't think that's going to last much longer.
No, Rich. Okay, so what the consumer market has seen since November, December, when they went down consecutive months, is not the case, right? In January, rates in terms of mortgages and car loans and whatever else actually went up, oddly enough, about 0.5%.
Yeah, Trump claims that he can bypass the Fed and make his decision independently of the Fed.
I want to see him do that.
Yeah, I don't want to see him do it, but I think he's going to try.
No, he's more willing to
Ending
try.
the Fed? Okay, I'm in. Let's go.
No, why?
Sorry, I didn't mean for a second.
Damn it!
Got him. No, Osiris. Eggs aren't real because birds aren't
easy
real.
to get a libertarian to say what you want him to say.
Yeah,
Just
Osiris. Birds aren't real. I mean government spy dumplings.
Government spy dumplings? Did you just say that?
He did.
Yeah.
Okay. I need
Wait,
help.
did you see Osiris was here?
He's in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he can't be bothered to come in here because he's too much of a bitch.
He's a
got
wise
my
man.
puppy. I can't piss him off right now.
Why not?
He's got my puppy.
He's got everybody's
Oh,
puppy.
I didn't realize you're getting one of the puppies. Okay.
Yes, I might be getting two of them. I don't know. I'm going.
What
for
kind of
two.
puppies?
He has mutts.
Puppies. Yeah. His dog escaped the yard or something? Apparently, didn't escape the yard.
It's escape.
Just showed up miraculously pregnant.
It's pronounced escape.
Don't know what happened, but I'm getting puppy Jesus.
That's okay.
Yeah.
As long as you pronounce it correctly, it's pronounced escape.
I think mine's going to be named Beatrice, but I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
Wait,
Beatrice is a hefty name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beatrice, probably. I don't know. It's one of those variations on the name.
On that note, we have immaculate conception of puppies, and hopefully, the dog is not under duress. So, on that note, I'm going to
I
go
mean, how
ahead
would
and
you
rate
explain
out.
it? How would you explain it? Osiris says the puppy never left the house. It's an indoor dog.
Name it Jesus.
And
like
all of a sudden, one day,
I love it.
Yeah, name your dog Jesus.
And
well, you would
name it
have to,
Jesus.
right? I mean, it was immaculately conceived.
Oh my god, that brings
You're
us
gonna
back
bring
to
it to the dog groomer. Oh, you named your dog Jesus. No, his
this
name is Jesus.
I'm gonna have to.
is
I'm gonna have to feed him
Zeus.
frankincense and myrrh.
All right, so I'm gonna rate out
You
on
guys are
that.
corny
It has
as
been
fuck,
fun,
alright?
y'all. It has been a great night. I appreciate all of you. Hope to see you next week. Looking to have another great guest. We will see who it will be. So holla at you next week. Sending y'all to Resi. Peace.
All right. Peace.
Night, gentlemen.
Yeah, been fun.
See you, buddy.
Hi, folks.
No, I'm just gonna
Are
move
y'all
down.
leaving?
No, I'm just gonna move down to the other chat.